What's going on, friends? We have returned. JV Wins Dogon SS. We are back for our garden variety of social and cultural commentary here on the YouTube interwebs. Major thank yous and appreciation to everybody who checks out our content, interacts with our videos. We certainly do appreciate it. Go ahead and download the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify if you are so inclined, just trying to be available in all places possible. You can also follow along with the channel on Instagram and TikTok at ConApproach, ConApproach. But you know how it is, man. JB Wins Dogon SS. We are here once again. And we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off with a friend of the channel, man. A friend of the channel, Brittany Renner, is fresh off of her stint as a Muslim, and she is now speaking on her transition in and out of that particular situation. And you know, she speaks to her fan base. You know, she likes to self-disclose to the fan base and talk about why she did what she did and where she's coming from, and you know, some of the different things that went into the decisions that she made in terms of, you know, why she may have decided to explore certain things. So at this time, she's getting into, you know, the decision that went into her, you know, becoming a Muslim, and how she went through that experience, got out of it, realized that it might not necessarily be for her, but that all of these assorted journeys, you know, don't define her individually, but rather it's the compilation of everything that kind of makes her who she is, and that she should not be ashamed of who she is or what she is or whatever it is that she may be going on, because it's all a part of this beautiful journey that she likes to call life, I guess. to try and put a nice little spin on it. So no, we don't need to fix this tab. I just need you to play the tab. There you go, StreamYard. All right, so this says Brittany Renner explains why she's no longer Muslim and getting baptized. So that was another thing, folks. Brittany Renner, since ceasing to be Muslim, has also become baptized. Religion has become one of the most public chapters of Brittany Renner's life over the past few years, and now she's opening up more about it. Renner reflected on her decision to be baptized after having converted to Islam, describing a spiritual journey that ultimately led her away from the faith she had publicly embraced. In a video, she answers a question regarding whether or not she was still Muslim. Further, Renner recognized that there are plenty of Muslims who do not wear hijabs. She added that there were other issues she didn't feel like explaining all the way because she experienced things during that time that made her question whether this was the religious practice for her. Renner first revealed she had converted to Islam in 2024. Later, she confirmed her relationship with rapper Kevin Gates, whose own spiritual beliefs became part of the public conversation surrounding the couple. Questions surrounding the pair intensified after Renner revealed they had married. Neither she nor Gates publicly disclosed what led to the split, but the breakup quickly became a topic of discussion online as fans noticed Renner's public image beginning to shift once again. Despite the criticism and pushback about her choices, Renner has consistently framed her decisions as personal rather than performative. So here is Brittany Renner explaining this whole journey and how she came to get to this point, first becoming Muslim and then not becoming Muslim and then getting baptized.
Are you still Muslim, or was that a phase? Huh. No, I'm not on practice anymore. And this was my way of thinking too. I posted a video like a year ago where I said, it got like 20 million views, where it was talking about, I had to wear cornrows to fit in a hijab, and I'm no longer interested in shrinking myself. Thank you so much. Thank you. And my logic that was me explaining, okay, like I'm not doing this anymore. But granted, there are a lot of Muslims that do not wear a hijab. Like, I don't know. Now, when you go to the mosque, people are going to be, from my experience, they're going to definitely be in hijabs. But I guess that's just where, too, there were some things I'm just like, I don't feel like explaining myself all the way. Because I had a lot of different experiences when I was Muslim that, to me, I was like, I don't know, this is for me. I was Muslim for like 10 months. Married for 52 days. Came out of my hijab that last summer. And I actually got baptized in March. I really needed that structure when I was rebuilding my life. I needed that protection. And even with wearing a hijab, I felt like it cloaked me. Like I felt almost invisible. Like when I would wear a hijab in public, it's like, I was like, am I Casper? Can anybody see me here? Hello? So I just felt like being wrapped up and also knowing that there is so much more to me than my body. But the body's, you know what I'm saying? The hair, all these things that make me me. It's just not like solely relying on that anymore, but just knowing that like I can outwardly be myself and I don't have to shame myself for having a fat ass, for wanting to wear my hair out. And yeah, so I just feel like there were just things, whether it was Christianity or being Muslim, like that to me just don't really resonate. I'm like, where's the middle? And the middle is like right where I'm at. It's like, of course I believe in God, but to say that I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim or this, no. If I will go be 17 other religions, it doesn't matter to me. Like I'm going to continuously try things, and whatever works for me is what works for me. And what works for me today might not work for me tomorrow. I think that's where I give myself a pat on the back, because a lot of people do not have the courage to just live in their truth. And I live in my truth in a very public way through every phase of my life. And I don't apologize for it.
Oh, brother.
All right. So what do you think of what she had to say about how she's no longer ashamed to live in her truth and she shouldn't be defined by, you know, one particular thing or the other, and she can hop around from one religion to the next and it's so good?
Listen, man, you know, everybody likes to throw around these buzzwords like, you know, mental health and stuff like that, and how serious it is. And that little explanation, rant, whatever you want to classify that as, it was honestly a cry for help. And you know, these episodes can be classified as, you know, a form of mania. You know, like this is manic behavior. And she can join 17 religions and do it, which I don't have a problem with, I guess. And what works for her today may not work for her tomorrow. I get all of that too, I guess. But the thing is that her vlogging her mental instability, she can call that living her truth or trying to find herself, which in many ways it is. But at the same time, I think she needs to sit down on somebody's couch and have some conversations, because she's been, you know, out of her mind. And so when she did this whole Muslim thing, I wasn't buying it. You know, I also said that, hey, I'm not here to make fun of people trying to find themselves through religion or whatever, even though I may not agree with it. I'm not going to sit here and judge somebody on their attempt at a spiritual journey. But I also said back then was that, boy, Muslim is if you're an outside person and your whole persona, your whole everything is about being outside, Muslim would be the last religion that I would think that you would join. I mean, that is completely a 180. I mean, they don't play any of that. So I didn't know how long that would last. And yeah, it didn't last very long at all. So yeah, man, this just sounds like a person that needs to be in a padded room somewhere, man. She needs to be somewhere where she's being cared for. And she's using the internet as her therapy, man.
Yeah.
People in the comment section to back and make her feel good. You know, the thirsty dudes that's, you know, going crazy over her body. I mean, to hear her talk about her body like that, it's like, girl, you know what I'm saying? Is it nice or whatever? Like, I guess, you know what I'm saying? But get over yourself, man. But the guys in the comment section gonna boost her head up. The girls in the comment section gonna boost her head up about her looks or whatever. So, you know, ain't no telling her nothing different. And when it comes to her self-esteem and all this other stuff that she's jumping on the internet to get validated, they're right there too. So she doesn't have anybody in her real life to do this for her, I would assume. So that's why she runs to the internet and have them be her therapist. But it's an echo chamber. So she's talking to other enablers. So this condition will never get better. You know, she actually joined a religion that was going to give her structure out if she was following it, to make her, to show a mirror to herself in more ways than one, for her to course correct that. But she's not going to do that, man. She's hard coded on being outside, man. So I'm not surprised that she made this shift. But to me, that sounded like mental illness from second one to the end of the clip. I mean, that sounded like you can't have a conversation with her. You know what I'm saying? She there's nothing up there. So, hey, man, best of luck to her, I guess. But yeah, man, I knew it was a grift from the beginning. So I'm not surprised she jumped ship, man. But what are your thoughts, man, on Brittany Renner dropping the Muslim faith and the hijab, and now just, I guess, freelancing after a baptism? What are your thoughts, bro?
It's ironic that she describes her decision to opt in and out of these various phases in her life as methods in which she has utilized to better understand who she is. It almost seems as though she's saying, because of all of these things, I now have a more firm understanding of who I am. Mm-hmm. And that's an ironic stance to take, because I actually think it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. I think going through all of these various experiences and being wayward in that way actually informs herself, as well as others around her or anyone else who's observing, on the fact that you actually don't know who you are. When you're going through all these varied experiences, it's because you don't know who you are, and you don't really have a clue as to who or what it is that you're supposed to be. And it reminds me of like when I was, you know, in some ways I'm still like this. I've matured a lot more now than I was when I was like in my college days. But in my college days, I was constantly struggling with trying to understand why it is that I could look at other guys who were in my peer group and see that they were very content with being relationship oriented. But I couldn't understand how I could how I could get to the point where I myself could also be relationship oriented. But I also operated under the belief that being relationship oriented is the best, most stable, practical way to live. So I was struggling constantly with tiptoeing back and forth between, I believe being relationship oriented is the best way to go. I want to be relationship oriented because of my belief that it's the best way to go. Yet the way that I actually live my life, I'm not inching closer towards doing that. And the more that I found myself tiptoeing, seesawing back and forth between those two dual natures, the less I understood who I was. I became more confused than ever. Like, it made me more confused. It made me understand less and less who I actually was. And I was actually very envious of the guys who knew that they were relationship oriented, because I felt as though those guys knew who they were. And I got to a certain point eventually at some point in my life where I basically concluded my desire to reach that point of contentness is rooted in my desire to know who I am, because I want to know who I am. And the further I stray away from that, because the way that I'm actually living my life is I'm trying to have multiple women, and I'm trying to have multiple girls that I'm talking to at the same time, and I'm trying to have multiple women that I'm sleeping with at the same time. It's straying me further away from that, thus making me further confused as to who I actually am, and straying me further away from said stability. So when you're tiptoeing through these dualities in your life, it's actually confusing you more. Now, I don't know what the component is between like the person who knows who they are and is content with that and just lives in that truth into perpetuity, versus the person who maybe never finds out or just takes a little longer to find out. I don't know what the missing ingredient is between those two different realities, but I do genuinely feel that, and I'm not trying to say that, you know, being relationship oriented or being monogamous is the only way to discover who you are. It just means to say that that was my call. Like my yearning was, it is within this parameter that I can discover who I actually am. That's just for me. For somebody else, they may discover being in the streets is who they are. And so even if they try to fit a square peg into a round hole by trying to be relationship oriented or monogamous, because they're going back and forth between because they're trying to go back and forth between doing that, but they have a yearning for being out in the streets, they can't get to who they're supposed to be or who they are. So I think that this whole thing is about people who are wayward and don't know who they are. And I think that she's a part of that. I think it's the opposite of what she's saying. I don't think these varied experiences, going from being a Muslim to getting baptized, is helping her learn who she is. I think that is evidence of her trying to find some way to reconcile who she is, more so than anything else. And her difficulties in reconciling who she is leading her to make these decisions to try to find those more amicable forms of reconciliation. When really, at the end of the day, I think she just needs to accept who she is, right or wrong, fair or unfair. And she might not like who she is, but that's a burden that she's going to have to live with, because we all have to live with who we are. But the quicker we can accept who we are and just live in that, the more at peace we can be, so that we're no longer on the internet jockeying back and forth between wearing a hijab and getting dunked into a tub of water.
Yeah, man, but that's a fine line, bro, because in my opinion, I think innately everybody wants to find themselves. And I think innately everybody knows what right is in comparison of whatever they're doing. And so whatever they're doing, whatever their life is where they're at. But there's something that compels them. There's something that makes them feel some type of way about where they're at. So they want to get better. And that's for people that's outside. That's for people that's doing whatever, like, and that reconciling that you're talking about, that is, you can't just, in my opinion, you can't just settle for where you're at, because that innate burning of, I want to be normal, or I want to be solid, I want to be grounded, that burns everybody. The one thing that all of these outside people have in common is that they all hate the lifestyle. They all hate it. They'll be quick to get on the internet to tell you how much fun it is, how much money they spent, how many females they got, how many, if they're women, how many men they got, how many purses and bags they got. But those are miserable human beings. Our girl, Young Miami, I saw an interview with her where this dude, he asked her, he said, hey, so would you allow your daughter to grow up to be a city girl? And Young Miami thought about it, and she said no, she don't want her to grow up like that. You know what I'm saying? Because she knows that she had to get golden showers. So you know what I'm saying? And there's women out there that's doing Dubai porta potties.
Yeah.
And so that's the lifestyle they got to live to get their Goyard bags. You know what I'm saying? And to be jet setting across the world. Brittany Renner had to do all that weird stuff too. They hate that. It's degrading. And as degrading as the lifestyle as it is, when they're in those moments, literally getting defecated on, I'm sure there's some cognitive dissonance there. And then they go back out into the world, and they to make themselves feel better about being treated, like a public restroom. They have to say that, look at my bag, look what I got, look what I'm doing, look at my BBL, look at, it's a cope. But those women cry inside all the time. And that's why I told you, man, because we had a conversation about, sex work and all that stuff being normalized and all of this other stuff. And I said that, those sex workers, man, in order to perform in that world, man, you have to be a sociopath. You have to be out of your mind in order to thrive and live in that world and not crack by it. And so when Brittany Renner is doing this struggling, she the only thing that she knows is to run to her religion. She's too old to join the military. She feel like she needs structure in her life. So these things are real, like she real life wants help, but she's going about it all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that she needs to sit down on somebody's couch. She needs to heal whatever it is that got her out here thoughting in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But her just trying to slap wardrobe on top of it, you know what I'm saying? Or a ceremony here and a ceremony there. That's not going to fix whatever that got you outside in the first place. So she needs deeper help. But I think that these people, they're never, there's restlessness with these people, and they put a facade out there that this lifestyle is fun, entertaining, and they're living their best life. They're not.
Yeah, that's
chasing highs.
Yeah, that's the reconciliation. That's the reconciliation for the chosen lifestyle is the worldliness of it, the materialistic nature of it, because intrinsically you can't reconcile it in any other fashion. So you have to resort to those types of mechanics in order to convince yourself. Like, I forget the video that we were doing when I brought this particular point up, but I said, these individuals, they make it seem as though they create this content for their community. People like her and others in a similar position, man or woman, they'll create content under the guise of, I'm doing this as an inspiration to those who might be in a similar situation as me, who might be looking up to me, who see me as inspiration. But they're really doing that for themselves. They're not really doing it for their community. They're doing it for themselves. They're holding court publicly on the internet, but they're really doing it for themselves as a way to find some sort of reconciliation for some of the decisions that they've made. Yeah. But it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else or any greater community. It has everything to do with trying to find ways to reconcile those decisions, which is a clear indication that there's not something that's all the way right with it.
Correct.
You don't see successful real estate investors constantly doing this, or anyone in any other industry, finance, you name it. It's always these new and emerging microeconomies which require you to compromise certain aspects on the fundamental ways to be human in order to be successful in it, because there's no other way around it. You have to do that.
Yep.
So these people can talk about how they feel great and how this was something that they had to do, and now they are more at peace with who they are. But in my estimation, all of these grand gestures is just an indication that they're even less knowledgeable of who they are. But to your point, because I do agree with you. Everybody, I believe, does have a genuine yearning to be grounded and centered. But unfortunately, not everybody can figure out how to go about doing it.
Yeah, it's that, and that's the sad part. And the other sad part is, is there's a lot of mad people in this world, man. They're literally crazy. And Brittany Renner, I don't care, man. She's a crazy person. you can't listen to anything she says. Like, you can look at her life as a case study and learn through those types of things, or you can you can listen to her about outside behaviors. I think you can learn from everybody in the world. But what I'm really trying to get at is, there's some women that look at Brittany Renner as some type of, trailblazer, they do, man. They, if they have their own, top 5 thoughts out there, man, Brittany Renner be in these girls, starting 5, man. Because she literally wrote handbooks on this. But she's, in my opinion, she's not a stable person, and she displays it constantly. And she's just one of those people, man. And if there's anybody that talks like her, at least for me, man, because I'm not playing this game no more, where I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna sit here and be nice, man. It's like, nah, man, you crazy. You're a crazy person. You need help, man. And so Brittany Renner is one of those people. I'm not gonna sit here and hold her hand, man. Because I'm not gonna be an enabler. So for all of these people out here that in a society that if we did live in a grounded society and these people were amongst us, Brittany Renner will be an outcast because there's nothing grounded about her behavior at all. All these attempts is just another thought trap. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going for it. And the next clown that goes for it, man, you're just another victim in her cycle. So I'm not going for it. And if anybody's out there, just stay away from her unless you're like a Kevin Gates. You know what I'm saying? Because who cares, man? Kevin Gates know how to treat one of these women, but any normal man, you just head for the hills with this behavior, man.
Yeah, and that is the danger inherent in it. Is there are more and more people who are willing to emulate the behavior. There are more and more men who look at her as the ideal, desirable woman, and there are more and more women who look at her as the model to replicate. So if there is any danger inherent in any of her rhetoric, it's that. But trust and believe there is a such thing in this universe as being grounded within the context of one's humanity. And that is a black and white issue. There are no grays and there are no in-betweens with that. You're either grounded in your humanity or you're not. And when you're not, it shows through your behavior and the decisions that you make. And so it just is what it is. And for anybody who is made uncomfortable by that belief, I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. And that doesn't mean that being grounded has one specific way of behavior or the other. It just means that you know it when you see it. And when you're grounded as a human within your humanity, you're not prone to certain behaviors, decisions, or lifestyles. So you can take that for what it's worth, but it simply is the truth. And I don't think anybody should be trying to replicate the formula from anyone who isn't grounded in their humanity.
Yeah, well said, man. So, hey, shout out to the Muslims out there and Kevin Gates, bro. Shout out to Kevin Gates.
Oh, man. Oh, Brittany Renner, friend of the channel. And now we move on to the continuation of the discourse surrounding Caitlin Clark and the WNBA, this time involving, is Jemele Hill a friend of the channel? Jemele Hill may be a friend of the channel at this point. I think we've discussed.
Times.
Yeah. Jemele Hill's been on here a couple of times. So if she isn't a friend of the channel, she's getting close to it.
For sure.
But Jemele Hill is weighing in on this face of the WNBA conversation, essentially saying that it isn't Caitlin Clark. the mainstream media may say it's Caitlin Clark, but the truth is that the face of the WNBA is not Caitlin Clark, it's actually A'ja Wilson. And Jemele Hill is essentially saying that achievements and accomplishments and like what you have done in your career has to factor into this conversation around face of, in this case, the WNBA. So this says Jemele Hill crowns A'ja Wilson the WNBA's true face over Caitlin Clark. The debate over the face of the WNBA has another high-profile voice, and this time is not siding with Caitlin Clark. Former ESPN host Jemele Hill pushed back against former NFL quarterback Robert Griffin III after he argued that Caitlin Clark has already become the face of the league. Hill acknowledged Clark's popularity, but said that distinction belongs to reigning superstar A'ja Wilson because of what she has accomplished on the court. I appreciate the nuance in your opinion, but there is a difference between popularity, appeal, and being the face of the league. Caitlin Clark is the most popular player in the WNBA and the biggest draw. She's not the face because she's not creating a new standard for winning. She does not have the accomplishments that people want to take. What team is everyone trying to beat? The Aces. What player is everyone trying to match? A'ja Wilson. The standard for winning is A'ja. Michael Jordan became the face of the NBA because he became the standard by which every player is measured. Everyone wanted to stop him. Caitlin isn't there. Hill's comments came in response to Griffin, who argued that Clark's unprecedented impact on attendance, television ratings, and mainstream visibility has already made her the league's defining figure. Griffin wrote that Clark is the WNBA's most recognizable player and argued it's not disrespectful to the other great players in the WNBA to acknowledge how dramatically the league's profile has changed since her arrival. The exchange is the latest chapter in a conversation that has grown far beyond basketball. After Clark's June collision with Alyssa Thomas and the subsequent flagrant 2 suspension, debates over officiating and player safety spilled into politics when members of Congress argued the WNBA to do more to protect players. Since then, basketball legends and media personalities, including Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Dave Portnoy, have publicly sparred over whether Clark should already be considered the league's face. Abdul-Jabbar argued that giving Clark that title so early is an insult to an awful lot of great players, citing Wilson's resume of championships and MVPs. Portnoy responded that Clark never asked for the label, writing that she is by far the most popular player in the league by every metric possible, and calling criticism of her rise steeped in jealousy and stupidity. All right, so what do you think about Jemele Hill's statement that the face of the WNBA is actually A'ja Wilson because of her achievements, despite Caitlin Clark's popularity?
I'm sorry, Jemele Hill. All right, but I'm gonna have to agree with RG3 and Dave Portnoy or whatever his name is. Out of all people, man, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? And NBA fans could rip me to shreds for saying this, man. But the fact of the matter is whether you like it or not, Caitlin Clark is the face of the NBA. Why? Because she is the most popular. That's the answer. All of this accolades and achievements, people don't care about that. People don't care about that. If they cared about that, then we would have. The only people that know who A'ja Wilson is are the people that's tapped in, that actually watch women's basketball. And honestly, outside of that world, casuals like myself, because they watch NBA and all that other stuff, and of her and her dominance because of that.
I would also add Heat fans to that, because if you're a Heat fan, she dates Bam.
But that's also casual stuff,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So it's not mainstream. Whatever. Face of the league means you can find somebody in Indonesia. You know what I'm saying? Random guy in a farmer, a rice farmer in Indonesia, and ask him, who's LeBron James? They say NBA. NBA. Hey man, NBA, he's the face of the league. You see, if you said the same thing back in the early 90s or mid 90s or whatever, they say Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? They can't speak any English, but they know LeBron James and Michael Jordan. I can't ask a rice farmer in Indonesia who's the face of the league, and he says Asia Wilson. Are you kidding me? The stud buds? They're not saying any of these people. They're going to say Caitlin Clark. Yeah, Caitlin Clark. She's the face of the league. So my barometer of face of the league is dealing with marketability and popularity. Can the league become more popular because of this player? Their marketing, their branding. Asia Wilson, although she's the best player in the WNBA, that doesn't make her, in my opinion, see, this is a subjective thing with face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why Jemele Hill and Kareem Abdul, I'm sorry, y'all, but y'all just adding, you know what I'm saying? My definition of it, unfortunately, rests with RG3, man. Yes, she's the most popular. Sorry. But when people right now, if you say WNBA for better or for worse, and it could be because, Caitlin Clark is polarizing, not just racially. I mean, it's interracially too. I see videos on TikTok where white men who are WNBA fans are just sick and tired of what she's, the flopping and all that weird stuff and all those other weird things. So she's just a polarizing person. You either love her or you hate her. There's not too many people in the middle with Caitlin Clark. But nevertheless, her name rings bells. And she is marketable for whatever that means. So in my opinion, I'm sorry, it's not Asia. I would like it to be Asia. Okay, because I think she can really ball for real. But unfortunately, okay, when people say WNBA, the first name that pops up is Caitlin Clark. The next is Angel Reese. It's not even Paige Beckers and all of these other, people out there that's hooping. It's Caitlin Clark. So she's the face of the NBA for better or for worse, whether you like it or not, in my opinion. And honestly, if the WNBA would be smart to treat Caitlin Clark as the face so they can grow even more, for better or for worse. But what are your thoughts, man, on this whole talk of Caitlin Clark versus Asia Wilson of who's the real face of the WNBA?
Yeah, I'm with you. I disagree with Jemele Hill. Surprise, surprise. And respectfully, I also disagree with Kareem because I do have respect for Kareem. Yeah. But yeah, I don't agree. Asia Wilson was drafted into the WNBA in 2018. Caitlin Clark was drafted into the WNBA in 2024. If this was definitive, there's a 6-year period of time in which Asia Wilson could have made that definitive. Mm-hmm. The fact that there is even a debate means she didn't make it definitive. Correct. Which means she's not. And that's the thing about it. There's a 6-year gap in between Asia Wilson being drafted and Caitlin Clark being drafted. And there are those who believe it is Asia Wilson because of all the achievements and stuff. But then, there's the rocket ship that's Caitlin Clark. And it just is what it is. If it's not definitive, it means the person's not. If you have to talk yourself into it, it means they're not.
Exactly.
It means they're not. And so, I like you. I also think Asia Wilson is the single best player in the WNBA, but she was not the needle mover for the 6 years before Caitlin Clark entered into the league that Caitlin Clark has become in the 2 years since Caitlin Clark's been drafted. Does Caitlin Clark's race play a factor into that? Sure, probably. But face of the league always involves things beyond how you perform.
Correct.
See, Jordan ruined stuff. See, especially when it comes to basketball, mm-hmm. Jordan messed stuff up for people because Jordan showed up and everybody got, because of Jordan, everybody got sort of, I don't want to use the word brainwashed, but I guess for lack of a better word, Jordan brainwashed everybody into believing that the face of the league is also simultaneously the best, most dynamic, and the winningest, most accomplished player. Jordan is like one of one in that regard. Like, mm-hmm. You can't measure everything up to that because I personally don't think that'll ever happen again.
Mm-hmm.
But Jordan ruined it. Jordan came in winning 6 championships, going 6 for 6, and winning all of these MVPs and scoring titles and defensive player of the year, slam dunk champion. Jordan was just doing like Jordan is never going to be replicated again.
No.
And I feel like people feel like that's the model to which you kind of gauge this stuff, when really you have to look at everything independently within the time frame in which they're actively doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is Caitlin Clark. It's not A'ja Wilson. And it, unfortunately for the purists, it has less to do with achievements. I hear you. In a more just world, it would be about achievements. But like you said, bro, look at all of these other ballers in the WNBA. Breanna Stewart, doing numbers. What needle is she moving? She's not. And you know how I know she's not? I'm a casual WNBA player, and I was never watching games because of Breanna Stewart.
Mm-hmm. You
don't judge it based upon what the purists and the hardcore people are doing. They're going to be there regardless.
Mm-hmm.
That's like if somebody came. That's like if the prevailing wisdom was that Ja Morant, for example, is the face of the NBA. I would, of course, disagree with that 1,000 times over. But I'm hardcore. I'm in it. So whether Ja Morant is there or not, I'm still going to be watching these games. So I am not the one who can determine who the face of the NBA is. As much as I like to be, I'm not. I'm going to be there regardless. So, it is what it is, man. I think people need to get over this stuff. And my favorite player of all time is Kobe Bryant. As much as I love Kobe, and I believe that Kobe is the second greatest basketball player to ever play, in good conscience, I cannot say definitively that at any point throughout Kobe's career, he was the face of the NBA. I kind of feel like it was Jordan. And then once Jordan was gone, it was vacant until LeBron showed up. And then when LeBron showed up, he took it over, and LeBron's pretty much been it since. But in those years post-Jordan, pre-LeBron, it was a vacant seat. Nobody really claimed it. As great as I believe Kobe is, he wasn't that rocket ship in the way that a face of the league has to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it pains me to say that because I believe that he's the second greatest player ever.
Mm-hmm.
But that them's the breaks. That's how this stuff goes. So I agree with you, bro. It is Caitlin Clark, much to the dismay of all of these purists and everybody who is, pro-black, because that's another element of this that makes people say it's A'ja Wilson.
Yeah, it's the WNBA, for all of its fandom, because I see it all the time on TikTok. There's more people involved in the WNBA than I thought. It's just some regular people, and they be watching these games, man. And yeah, they all see the Caitlin Clark antics. They see it, but it doesn't take away her popularity. It just doesn't. So if you say Caitlin Clark, if you put Caitlin Clark in your post, if you on social media, whatever, people gonna be paying attention, man. You could put A'ja Wilson in there all you want. Nobody's clicking on that, man. Okay, good. Another MVP, good, bro. Another finals, terrific. Nobody gives a damn. You know what I'm saying? A'ja can win the next 4 championships, bro. She's not going to be the face of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark can win a 3-point contest and blow all those accomplishments out of the water with that. You know what I'm saying? So for whatever it is, man. So especially if I'm in the media, like if I'm Jemele Hill or something like that, and I get what you're saying, bro, because RG3's playing the race card too in his own little white milk. You know what I'm saying?
He is.
You know what I'm saying? His unpasteurized milk ass talking all that stuff, man. So he doing that too. And so Jemele Hill, she's playing her angle to hold it down, because I don't know what kind of politics go on behind the scenes when these people actually meet each other. And, hey, thanks for having my back. Thanks for all this weird stuff going on out there, man. So there's a lot of politics with this garbage. But if I was out there and I was a media personality like a Jemele Hill, I don't care how pro-black I am, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll sit there and I'll admit it. And it's like, hey, look, and I'll explain why, just like I did here, man. And I don't take it. You know what I'm saying? So the part that I don't like about them is the people that do that, like Jemele Hill, that where it was clearly obvious that they're doing that. It's like, look, I get it. I get what you're trying to do, but I think everybody else sees what you're trying to do, which makes it seem like it's not a genuine take.
I don't think she cares though. She doesn't care. At this point, Jemele Hill knows that everybody is going to throw her into the race baiting bucket, so she just doesn't care.
She just doubles and triples down.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, but for me, man, hey, of course, Asia's better. I mean, put money on the line, bro. I'll put my whole salary this year if these two had a one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, it don't matter who's better. It's who's gonna bring in the more tickets.
But have you ever heard anyone with any credibility? Have you heard any credible person anywhere say Caitlin Clark is the best player in the WNBA or Caitlin Clark is better than Asia? I've never heard anyone say that.
No
one's ever said that.
Now, even for the most excited people about Caitlin Clark, they don't talk about her like that. They just say how exciting she is, and how she's gonna break every scoring record and all this other stuff. But it's never that she's better than like Asia or anybody else like that.
No one has said that.
Yeah. So hey, man, but it is what it is, bro. I would ride this wave. If I was a WNBA coverage person, I would ride the Caitlin Clark wave. Why not? I'm not going to sit here and glaze her, but at the same time, man, it's just like, why not ride that wave of face of the league? So these people that's being weird about it in the media space, I think that's kind of weird, man. Just ride out with it, man, and let these women get money, because whether we like it or not, or whether Jemele Hill likes it or not, Caitlin Clark equals more money down the line. So ride this wave, man, and stop shooting her down, bro. Like, who cares? But hey, it's just me, man. They say I'm out here caping for Caitlin now.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing about it is, like, Jemele Hill is, and I'm not trying to put words in her mouth or assume anything about her necessarily, but I believe, I'll just put it that way, I believe that the way that she conducts her job is her being pro-Black first, and then being like a what's the word I'm looking for? An unbiased journalist second. Mm-hmm. So I think being an unbiased, impartial journalist is secondary to her being pro-Black, in my opinion. And so I think that at least in small part, her talking like this is sort of, feeding, is sort of being consistent with the sense of responsibility that she has for representing her community properly. Mm-hmm. That's part of her motivation for that. And to your point, RG3 ironically is doing the same thing, but in reverse. I totally agree with you on that. RG3 is doing the same thing. Just because he's black doesn't mean he's not doing the same thing in reverse. He's doing the same thing in reverse, because I think RG3 has this weird thing with going after the pro-Black rhetoric.
Yeah, he's got a fetish with that.
He does.
So I'm not surprised he pulled that card, man.
Yeah, RG3 has this weird thing with going against the pro-Black rhetoric, for sure. And I'm pretty sure that that's like I'm pretty sure that that's a not so well-known secret amongst the media people. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where I think that is. Them two are she was actually responding to that thing, not exactly. Correct. She wasn't exactly, I don't think she was exactly responding to RG3's comments, even though on the surface that's how it seems. Mm-hmm. I think she was responding to that aspect of RG3's like personality. Mm-hmm. Because, I think if you get her into a room and ask her about RG3, she'll tell you how she feels about him, and it won't be anything flattering. Yeah, so that's kind of what this is, man. But yeah, I don't think Caitlin Clark. I don't think Asia Wilson is the face of the WNBA. I think it's Caitlin Clark. And face of any sports league has never been about who's the best or most accomplished. And again, I've never heard a single credible person in the media anywhere ever say Caitlin Clark's better than Asia Wilson or Caitlin Clark's the best player in the league. No one said that. So to kind of take it there is engaging in a straw man argument because nobody said that in the first place.
Agreed, man. So, hey, man, you know, like I said, you know, Caitlin Clark, she's a polarizing figure. All of her antics lately, I don't like it. You know, it's annoying the hell out of me. You know, the flopping, the crying to the refs, and all that other stuff.
Yeah, the complaining is bad.
It's horrible, man. But you know, that's what I'm saying, man. She's a lightning rod. So it's for better or for worse. This is helping the WNBA. So if they were smart, they would lean into it. So, and if I were a WNBA analyst, I would lean into it too. So, hey, man, you know, make the best of it.
Hey, man, Jemele Hill is one step closer to being a friend of the channel. And trust me, you do want to be on that list because it is, yeah, it is quite the achievement. So this is an ongoing theme on the channel. Periodically, we will sort of latch on to certain stories, just kind of talking about the greater ecosystem around the music industry and just the business of music and the state of music and where music is. So I happened upon this interesting article which says that based upon the last few years, when it comes to these charts, in this case, the Billboard 200, it's showing that hip hop and R&B is in the midst of like a sharp decline, and that, you know, pop and country is currently on the rise. So this says hip hop and R&B experienced sharp decline on the Billboard 200. Hip hop and R&B have been two of the biggest genres in music for decades. As the 2010s came to a close, it was clear that hip hop was on top. Practically all the big artists were winning, and it felt like there was a huge album every week. This continued throughout the height of COVID, and it felt like hip hop's dominance was never going to end. However, in 2023, things took a sudden turn as albums started to sell fewer units, especially in the first week. Young artists struggled to emerge as future superstars, while the same three artists remained at the top. Fans began remarking how fewer hip hop and R&B songs were topping the charts. Meanwhile, albums weren't staying at the top for as long as they used to. Now, data from Luminate appears to back all this up. Hip hop and R&B have gone from 40% market share on the Billboard 200 in the first half of 2023 to roughly 30% at mid-year 2026. This is a steep decline, with pop and country dominating the charts right now. Country music specifically has had a major rise over the past 3 years as artists like Jelly Roll, Morgan Wallen, and others become mainstream stars. This doesn't necessarily mean hip hop and R&B are in a bad place. Instead, it just means that pop and country have become part of the monoculture again. There are still plenty of great artists making amazing hip hop and R&B albums. These latest statistics are sure to lead some interesting conversations over the coming days. That said, it's important to just listen to what you like and ignore the noise. So, what do you make of this data, or with this steep decline since 2023 when it comes to the primary music genres in the community?
Yeah, I think it needs to decline more. I'm sorry to hear it. It's not a sharp enough decline, if you ask me. Yeah, man, I'm not surprised, bro. I'm sure you haven't seen this year's XXL freshman stuff. I mean, the past few years have been absolutely disgusting and also telling, because the young people, the really young people, know who these people are. And when I say really young, man, I'm not talking about middle schoolers, man. You know what I'm saying? So middle school and high school. But I would argue, fresh out of high school, them kids are already out of touch of whoever these new people is. I would really argue that. So they're not really chosen by the streets. You know, these are strange people who rap about strange topics, and they use metaphors. It's childish. Like they be rapping and stuff, and they be making bars about, you know, Phineas and Ferb. Yeah, bro. They, you know, SpongeBob references. It's like, bro, you can't sit here and talk about spinning a block on your ops and then turn around and talk about Phineas and Ferb. You know what I'm saying? Like Rick and Morty. It's like, why y'all? What kind of bars are these? And those kids really come off as if they don't, like, they're completely illiterate in a lot of cases. Now, some people could argue that was going on in our generation too, but at the same time, right now it seems to be a lot more aggressive. That these are like brain dead young people that just say words. They're not good. They don't have, in my opinion, they don't have any skill. So there are no new people. There's no new wave of energy coming in with creative anything. So I think that's also contributing to what's going on. But how did these young people learn to rap like that? And unfortunately, it came on our watch, I would say. We weren't putting music out, but the people that we were listening to in the early 2000s or whatever, you know, the stupid fruity swag and the this and this and that, and the just the dance song after dance song, trap after trap after trap. It started to lose its creativity. It started to lose its storytelling ability, and it just became about who can make the best hit, whatever. And so years and years of trying to just engineer for a hit. You know, it's like a batter who swings all the time just so they can hit home runs. Your batting percentage is going to be horrendous. You know, your on base percentage is going to be horrendous. You know, are you hitting home runs? Yeah, but how many times did you strike out? And it's year after year of this swing for the fences, need a hit. Nobody's making art anymore. And so these young people grew up watching that, seeing that, feeling that, dancing to that, and they just mimicked it. You know, brain dead, I do all the drugs. You know, these are the children of that crazy stuff that was going on in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. And now they're out there in the market and they can't articulate anything. They can't make real art. They're mimicking trash. And, you know, they can't even hit those marks. I will honestly rather listen to anything but these young people. So I might listen to Jelly Roll instead of listening to these kids. You know what I'm saying? So look, man, it's not an indictment per se to them. I mean, they're just a product of their environment. But at the same time, man, it needs to die, man. Circle of life, bro. They need to die, decompose, and there needs to be something built new out of this. And I think that this is the going down phase that's necessary in every life cycle. So I'm not going to sit here and shed a tear because this stuff needs to be at the bottom of everybody's playlist, to be honest with you, man. But what are your thoughts on the latest trends of not much representation of hip hop and R&B in the top 200 on the Billboard? What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I guess the question is whether it's cyclical or whether it's an indication of where things are headed, you know, into perpetuity. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's a matter of perspective. I'm pretty sure for every person who is of the mindset similar to yours, there's probably another person who says, either it's cyclical or it's fine. It's as good as it's ever been. That's the interesting thing about the interpretation of music is it's rooted in subjectivity. But I've often said here that I believe it's getting to a point in which it is objectively true that the quality of the music is degraded compared to previous generations. I can't quantify that, of course, I can't, because that is certainly my opinion, but it just feels that way. And I was the interesting thing is like we were just I think if you're really, it's hard for me to articulate this properly, but I'll try. I think if you're really not creating something with at least an attempt to create it true to its essence, you're going to be overtaken by other forms of distraction. So I think where these particular genres of music are at a particular inflection point is, in my opinion, there is a certain lack of care and artistic flair and attention and appreciation that's being paid to the music, which is therefore making it susceptible to podcasts and YouTube and streamers. So like I feel like people like, and we're going to talk about PlaqueBoyMax here pretty soon, but I feel like the Kai Cenats, PlaqueBoyMaxes, Aiden Ross, what's that other kid's name? Neon. Like these individuals are claiming positions that were previously held by music, because in my opinion, music isn't doing a good enough job of making sure that it maintains its position of dominance when it comes to media consumption from people. Mm-hmm. So if you're not doing a good enough job of at least making things that can be listened to 10, 15, 20 years from now, you're going to be overtaken by this other stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I feel like you and I are kind of on the same page with what we are looking at observationally as new media streaming overtaking some of the more traditional media tentpoles that we grew up on, things like video games and music and even movies. Mm-hmm. To the point where like streamers are to the point where streamers are becoming the new celebrity. Like the new Tom Cruise is clavicular. You know what I'm saying?
which is very unfortunate.
It's odd. It's weird. But I kind of feel like that's where it is. And it didn't have to be that way. But the people making the music in conjunction with the industry overall has been complicit with accepting lesser quality as normal.
Yeah.
And so when you become complicit with accepting lesser quality as normal, furthermore, trying to pass that lesser quality off, convince the rest of the world that it isn't actually lesser quality, it's just different. Mm-hmm. When smart, astute enough people can tell, no, you're not going to play me off like a fool, bro. Like, don't try to word salad me and tell me that it's different. It's not different. It's just worse. And people are hip to that. So they're going to go elsewhere with their media consumption. And they're going to just hop on to Twitch and TikTok and YouTube. And podcasts and video consumption is going to go up, and music consumption is going to go down, because it is objectively worse. Mm-hmm. Well, people in the music business clearly won't agree with that, but I do think that it is becoming objectively worse. And it's hard to really quantify that. How can you say music is objectively worse? That has to be a matter of opinion. But I mean, if you listen to this, I don't really know how you can dispute it. I mean, I was in the car. I have younger people in my family who can kind of help me stay tapped in so that I can better gauge whether the way that I'm looking at stuff is a matter. Is it me just being old and I'm advancing in age, and so maybe my perspective is rooted in my generation, or is my inclination that it is objective true? Which one is it? And I'll be in a car with my nephew who's 15. I got a lot of my cousins, they have children who are like 14, 15, 16, and I'm around them, they're not really listening to music.
No, they don't.
Not like that. They're watching their favorite streamers,
Right.
and they're looking at viral videos,
Right.
and they're watching funny clips and memes and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I don't think I've been around my nephew one time and seen him with his ear pods in his ear because he's streaming an album.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the music is being overtaken by this other stuff. And in my opinion, it's easier to facilitate that transition when the quality sucks. So I think that these numbers are indicative of that, but I'm pretty sure there will be plenty of people who will defend this, saying that the quality is just as good as it's ever been.
I don't know who those people would be, to be honest. I really don't, bro.
They're out there.
Yeah, I don't know who those people are. Now there's stuff now. There's layers to this. So I'll start here. So like in the 2010s, man. So like when Migos was having a little run or whatever, if Migos was doing that in the early 2000s, they would have had the game on lock. I felt like what that wave that they had, what they were doing, how they were doing it, the subject matter. I felt like that was quality stuff for the industry, whatever. I was very impressed by those young men at that time. And this is industry standard stuff, though. I'm not talking about, whatever. I'm talking about the wave that they had and how they was capturing the young people and all other stuff. Like that would have hit in damn near any generation, if you ask me. And I still feel like, I don't listen to PlaqueBoy Carti, but I'll hear stuff that he does. I get why kids like him, and I get why kids like NBA YoungBoy, even though I don't like anything he does, but I get it. And I also get, what's another person that I get? I can't think of it now.
Travis Scott.
Hey, bro, that's old, bro. That's Travis Scott. That's 10 years ago, man. So Travis Scott, he ain't got the kids there no more, man. I can't think of any other of these young people right now, but I hear some of these people and I go, I get why. Oh yeah, Lil Uzi, even though he's Travis Scottish, but Lil Uzi can come out with something tomorrow and it has a whole bunch of people paying attention. So I listen to some Lil Uzi stuff and I get that too. But I bring that up to say is that there are people that would have made it in our day doing the stuff that they're doing. Because even though you don't even understand what PlaqueBoy Carti's saying, that stuff, if he had came out in 2008, 2009, I still feel like that would have made noise. So there's some dudes right now that are kind of doing whatever. But as a whole, as a collective, there isn't any, because even though I named those names, Migos never put together anything. When they tried to put together albums and stuff like that, it always fell flat on its face. They couldn't do it. Young Thug couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So even in the 2010s, it wasn't really, there was no albums as talented as some of those guys I thought were at the time. So the quality of everything over the years has just been going down and down. And like I said, these young people have been listening to that stuff. And so that's their teachers. You know what I'm saying? So Young Thug was their teacher. Migos was their teacher. The Baby.
Yeah.
Their teacher. And so now they're just out here just adding trash to the internet, man. It's like microplastics in the ocean. It's everywhere. And it's doing nothing but damage. So I don't know what to say to these young people besides y'all missed the good times. And that's it. But your stance on the streamers, them moving towards streaming, yeah, these young people are more about vibing out and just having a good time and laughing. And music was our escape. That's their escape. So yeah, just joining the stream and just hanging out amongst the people in the chat with their favorite streamer on a Friday, Saturday night or whatever. That's their life, bro. So I kind of understand that too. And it's unfortunate, man, but there's been a lack of quality and a lack of attention to details and quality since 2005, 6, 7, bro. There was some anomalies here and there, man, but for the most part, bro, like we were fighting against a lot of that stuff when it was coming out, man. Laffy Taffy, you know what I'm saying?
That's the funny thing. Yeah, the D4L franchise boys. Yeah,
man. Like, but when that came out, bro, it was uproar. Like, what the hell is this, man? But
that was the precursor to.
That's when it started, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
That's when the BS started. When people were just coming out with mixtapes with 30 songs and only 2 of them slap. Because they just keep dropping stuff, like all this quantity means something, bro. Like that's when the chaos started, bro. So even though it was a lot of stuff, a lot of good days, a lot of good stuff in those days, that's what added to this, man. And of course, amongst industry trash, in the industry having their manipulation, man. But yeah, man, I just think that, it's like AI feeding off itself. So, when AI reads that article written by AI and then that AI writes it becomes like a game of telephone and all the information gets lost, all the substance gets lost. And that's what we've been dealing with generation over generation of quick trash. And now we have a cesspool of brown booty holes.
Yeah.
And so, who should we point the finger at if we already seen this coming a decade ago? So yeah, man. So I would like to see it crash and burn, to be honest. I don't want to see anything in the top 200. Maybe it'll wake some people up or not. We can just move the hell on, man, because I'm over it, to be honest with you, bro. This new stuff, I can't get with like 95% of it. I think that's being generous.
Even the new stuff coming from older artists, like even that is like not hitting, I remember, you bring up people like Lil Uzi and Playboy Cardi. Migos is another good example. Even like Future is somebody who I was never a fan of, but like you said, you get why Migos had that storm that they had. I got why Future had such a battery pack behind him. I got it. Like when I was out during those days and I'd be at the club and they play Future songs and all of that and people went crazy, I understood the Future craze, even though I was never a fan of Future. But Future is well past his peak. He's well past his prime. And now whenever Future makes stuff, it's ho-hum. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. Like I listened to the Rick Ross put out a new album, came out last week. I listened to it. It was 18 songs. It may be, I have to think about this, it may be the worst Rick Ross album I've ever heard.
No. I didn't even hear it, and I know it's the worst.
Like I'm thinking about it off the top of my head, but I can't recall listening to a Rick Ross album and thinking to myself, this really sucks. Like there's only like 3 songs on there that are good. It's 18 songs. And every song is like 2 minutes long. It's like, bro, you could have just cut some of this fat off and gave me 13 songs that are full songs instead of giving me 18 songs that are a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So there's just an approach to the music making process overall that's contributing to the degradation in the quality. But in certain circles, depending on who you're talking to, if you say that, they'll just counter with you just don't get it. But my theory is at some point in the near future, it will become consensus that the quality is just bad, objectively.
That's bad, bro.
Yeah.
This is bad. There's no effort put into any of this stuff anymore. So, yeah, man, I'm with you, bro. I was only going to give the Rick Ross thing a listen just for the heck of it. But I was pretty much sure that it was going to be trash. The amount of promo he's doing, I've never seen him on the move so much in the media before an album. And I knew it because his album was trash and he knew it too. And the Future one that just came out, man, because hey man, I'm a Future guy. Well, I used to be more, but yeah, man, 2014, 15, 16, man, I was going crazy with that. And so I more than understood why people liked it. But yeah, man, as of late, bro, it's just been, boy, what the hell is this? And that last one he came out with, I mean, there was one song that I go, now this is a future I like. Out of, I don't know how many was on that. It was like 20 something songs or something stupid. And there was only one on there that I was like, nah, I can listen to this. But then I was listening to it again. I was like, I can't listen to this. So it was a hard pass on the whole thing, which was never a thing for me. But yeah, man, nobody puts the same effort and grind in no more. They just record an album so they can do shows. It's a means to an end to them.
I think at this point they all do it so that they can fulfill whatever contract that they own.
That too, man.
Yeah, that's because it's just dumb. Like I'm listening to it like this is not even. Oh, it was very disappointing, man. Like that Ross, I'm just like, you gave me 18 songs of this, bro. You could have gave me 10 songs and just gave me 10 full songs that I can actually get into and grasp. But instead, you gave me 18 songs that feel like they all took an hour to make. That's what it feels like.
So, he probably made that in like a weekend. Like, and that's not an exaggeration either, So yeah, man, the game is, like you said, that's objectively trash. So will there be a young person that could come revolutionize it? Who knows? Oh yeah, and by the way, bro, the Nicki clones are on the way. I saw 2 different girls rapping like, Nicki Minaj, the robotic kind of Nicki, bro. And they got people behind them. People making jokes, but they got people behind them. So you're gonna start seeing the hardcore Nicki clones. You know what I'm saying? The ones that studied her playbook. And so because we already had the box rappers, but I'm talking about the whole robotic. You rapping like that? You're carrying yourself as a human like that? Yeah, bro, it's on the way. So yeah, man, I'm completely. I mean, I've never been this detached away from hip hop before, bro. And so it's not a coincidence that the numbers are doing the same thing, because we're not the only ones feeling this way, bro. So yeah, I want it to crash, bro. I want it to crash and burn, to be honest.
Yeah, it probably does just need to just die. Yeah, man, and maybe it can just be reborn. But I don't know, man. Because the industry is at the mercy of all of these technologies and these economies. So I don't see it changing, because even if it were to crash and burn, they'd still come back like, how can we make songs that will play on streaming? Because that's the whole thing. It's like, how can we make sure that people will stream this on Spotify? And we want to make sure that we get the metrics, and it's all a digital game. And so that's why all of these people are just making all of these albums that sound incomplete. And these songs that sound incomplete. That's what I get when I listen to music now. I feel like I was a part of an incomplete process. That's what it feels like. Yep. It's like watching a movie. It's like going into a movie theater and you watch a movie and it just abruptly ends 30 minutes after it starts with no conclusion. Like that's what all of this stuff sounds like now.
Yeah, man. So shouts out to nobody in this one, man. Tighten up.
Real. Friend of the channel, Ryan Clark, is no longer an employee of ESPN. So this is something that seemingly happens every year, where ESPN will just go on a layoff spree and just get rid of people. And apparently Ryan Clark was laid off during, if I have this correct, based upon everything that I've read, Ryan Clark was laid off during the taping of an episode of NFL Live.
During a segment of it, yeah.
Yeah. So let me wait for this tab to load up, because this is one of those tabs that take a while to load up. It's got a lot of bandwidth attached to it. But yeah, apparently during a segment, Ryan Clark found out he was laid off by ESPN. Now, Ryan Clark isn't the only person, right? So Cam Newton also was laid off, which actually surprised me because I thought he had already been laid off. I didn't know that hadn't happened yet. I thought he was already done. And then there were a couple of other longer standing people, a couple of Sports Center anchors, this guy, Carl Ravitch, who's been with ESPN for like 30 years, but I think he was a baseball guy. They also let him go. So yeah, man, ESPN is, in the midst of doing their annual layoff spree, and Ryan Clark is a part of that. But let me try to pull this up here. I may have to find another tab because this is one of those hot new hip hop / world star links where it's going to consume a crap ton of memory. But
let's see if I can find something real quick. But yeah, from my understanding, man, he was sitting there talking. They went to commercial break, and he was gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my understanding too of how that one happened, which is just wild. Let's see if we can get this pulled up here.
Let's see. Yeah, bro. What website is that? So I know not to get those no more.
Total Pro Sports.
Okay, yeah. It's not like that.
Yeah, any of those websites where it's just heavy with the display ads. It'll be sucking on your memory, and then stuff starts lagging. But it's shared. Oh, yeah. It's not going. StreamYard doesn't like it. StreamYard doesn't like it.
All right, so
StreamYard won't play it.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's wrong with these websites, man, because they get more egregious with those damn things.
It's everything. Everybody's broke, bro. This economy is crazy, man. This economy, like these websites, stuff ain't hitting the way it used to, man. I'm seeing that replete throughout the internet, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So this one should work better, though. I found one that'll probably work better. It should be basically the same thing. It should get the point across.
Yeah, man. Good old Ryan Clark, man.
All right, so come on, you can do it. All right, so let me.
Cam Newton too, man.
Yeah. They announced them all on the same day.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I would have fired Cam Newton too, bro. So I would have got rid of him. He do too much, man.
All right, so this is finally up now. Okay, so Ryan Clark breaks silence on madness of shock ESPN layoff. Ryan Clark addressed the madness of his ESPN firing in an Instagram carousel post Tuesday. The NFL analyst, who reportedly learned he was laid off by the worldwide leader during an appearance on Monday's NFL Live, shared a proof of life message in his first statement since his layoff. Proof of life. Before the madness of yesterday, I woke up, got in my Tundra, drove to Planet Fitness, and got to work, Clark wrote, including videos of him working out at the gym. You would think he'd have a better gym membership than Planet Fitness.
Oh man, it's a no judgment zone, bro.
Yeah, I guess.
Whoa, man.
The rest of the day was eventful, but the journey continues. My peace is with God, and my humility comes from within. I'll continue to build myself so the world can never strip me of what's real. Get moving today, y'all. Clark supported others affected by ESPN's latest layoffs in a post on X, with lead MLB play-by-play announcer Carl Ravitch reportedly expected to be included in Tuesday's layoffs. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero is also expected to be let go after ESPN acquired the company. Sending prayers and loved ones to those laid off today by ESPN. He wrote, "So many of you have poured your life into that company, and I know how you're feeling right now. My hope is as this door closes, another opens for you all. God bless." Clark, who joined the company in 2015 and won a Sports Emmy in May 2023 for Outstanding Personality Studio Analyst for his work at ESPN, found out that he was being laid off mid-show and did not return to the program, The Athletic's Andrew Marchand reported Monday. ESPN reportedly planned to fire Clark on Tuesday as part of a larger round of layoffs from their parent company, Disney. However, ESPN broke the news to Clark on air due to concerns that it would leak. Clark co-hosts a podcast, The Pivot, with former NFL players Fred Taylor and Jenny Crowder. So let's go ahead and play this little carousel video thing that he did while he was working out at Planet Fitness. Oh, okay. I guess I thought there was sound, but there's no sound, I guess.
Yeah, man. Planet Fitness, man, they got solid enough equipment in there, man.
They don't have any free weights for a bench press. That's why I don't like it. Yeah, it's there. A lot of their heavy weightlifting stuff is all resistance and machine based. Very few of it is free weighted. So unless that's no longer the case, but that was always a reason why I never went in there. Oh, look, he also posted his whole routine. Look at that. There, Ryan Clark.
Yeah, man.
There's Ryan Clark, bro. So go ahead. What do you think? I'm gonna go ahead and continue to play this so Ryan Clark can get his 30 minutes of fame here. What do you think about this layoff situation and ESPN giving him the axe mid-show during a taping of NFL Live, no less?
Listen, man, and I've gone on the record many a times with my disdain for some of the things that Ryan Clark does. But I didn't want to see the guy get fired. But I didn't like his role at ESPN. Just being the antagonizer when it came to racial stuff. Some stuff didn't even require race. And then here he goes with it. Now, granted, if you want to make everything about race, you can.
You always can, yeah.
Yeah, trust me. Ryan Clark never turned it down. But the way that he went about it, I didn't care for it. I don't know. It just would rub me the wrong way. Some of the stuff he would say, I felt like he would leave a lot on the table. Because it's honestly, while you're on a network and all this other stuff, there's only so much you can say. So it's honestly, in most of those cases, it was just best to just leave it alone. and he would just say things, antagonize things, kind of like what you said with the music, man. It's kind of like, in order for you to fully round out what you're trying to say about this, you know, if you were Ryan Clark, you would have to say that, you would have to talk for, you know, it would have to be a full-length movie. But it's like, it's only so much he can say. It's only so much as whatever, and all of this and that. And so you kind of felt like there was so much more left on the table. And he would open up cans of worms and just leave them on the table, and I couldn't stand that. But I felt like that was clearly his role, him, Stephen A. Smith, amongst others, Swagoo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. All these dudes, man, they would just get in there and stir the pot and just leave it halfway unstirred. And I couldn't stand it, man. It's like, bro, we're talking about MVP right now. Why all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Why we talking race stuff right now, bro? Just keep it football. But no, that they would do their thing. So I couldn't stand that. I understood, though, that it seems as though he felt like he was doing justice, you know, finally a black voice, you know, on nationwide television that can hear the black perspective, you know. And I'm gonna tell y'all how we see things, you know. And so I get that angle, I guess. But I always felt like, again, it was just, a lot of it was, it left a bad taste in my mouth, so I didn't care for a lot of that. So yeah, man, I had a lot to say about that. You know, I don't like ESPN as a network, and I felt like Ryan Clark was one of their do boys, and they would just, you know, roll them out there and say, yeah, man, just make it political, just talk about politics, talk about race, you know, and he would just and just get right on out there and do it. So I couldn't stand that. So I think there were a number of occasions when he's on his own platform, he got a little too big for his britches. And I felt like he was overshooting and got a little too comfortable talking about race, talking about all these other things. And then I think he took some shots, not at ESPN, but he was just taking shots. I felt he felt emboldened, and that's who I am. I'm gonna speak my mind. And so he did enough of that, and I think they had enough of him. So I don't think anybody else got fired mid-show. You know, out of all of these rounds of layoffs, they picked Ryan Clark to say, you know, let's have him dress up. Okay, let's have him do makeup. All right, let's have him sit there mid-show and not come back. I felt like all of that was intentional. And so I felt like as much as I didn't care for him and the relationship that he had with ESPN doing all that little dirty work, I felt like they did him dirty. Yeah, man, you never want to see nobody get fired, and you damn sure don't want to see them get fired in that context. So yeah, man, I say all that stuff to say is, man, when you're out here doing the bidding for a network, like I felt like Ryan Clark was doing, you know, you have to understand that they're ruthless, and part of Ryan Clark, in my opinion, was a part of their agenda to sow division. And I think Ryan Clark was, the way he behaved, I felt like he really thought he was doing a noble thing, but they were putting a battery in his back because, you know, he would actually go do it. At some point in there, I really thought that, oh, Ryan Clark doesn't know that he's being used as a pawn. He's just out there as a pawn. And like I said, he said something real spicy on his own show that I think lately kind of we may have covered it too. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it probably was like, you know what, we've had enough of this guy, and we got something for him. So yeah, man. Yeah, do dirt with crazy people, man. Crazy things can happen, man. And ESPN has never showed, especially lately, man, that they don't have any honor about them. So they did him dirty, man. But hopefully he you know, he does his thing on the pivot and, you know, find somewhere else to land, man. Hopefully he's not race baiting over there, but he just talk sports. But I hope he finds somewhere good to land, man, because as much as he will rub me the wrong way, I really don't feel like it was intentional. So yeah, man, I think it sucks. But what are your thoughts, man, on Ryan Clark getting fired mid-show, no less, in the latest round of layoffs on ESPN? What are your thoughts, man?
The world economy is in shambles.
Mm-hmm.
World economy is in shambles. Every industry is trying to figure out on the fly how to adapt to changes in consumer consumption, changes in the amount of disposable income that people have. I think this whole thing is just teetering on the brink of disaster. Grocery stores can't keep inventory up because freight's become too expensive. You can't even buy it costs like $1,000 right now to buy a PlayStation because they can't keep up with the chip. Something about AI and the chips are so expensive now that's what's causing the increase in cost of all of the consoles, and the prices just keep going up across the board. We don't need to talk about gas. Gas is also out of control. Airline travel, flights, it's like a $500 just for a round trip normal flight now. Hotel prices, everything is out of control. Every single industry that you can think of is trying to figure out how to remain profitable, as there appears to be less money to go around because people appear to be broker than ever. Are the people at the top making more money than ever? Yes. But the general population, there's just not enough. There's too many mouths to feed, and there's not enough food to go around. Every industry is just on the precipice of it's a powder keg. Every industry is on the precipice of complete and utter catastrophe. The automotive industry, everything is just a mess. Everything's a mess. Traditional media is a part of that. You can no longer afford to pay these people millions of dollars for however many years you pay them under contract and remain viable. Who is still watching traditional mainstream media anymore? When we were growing up, SportsCenter was life. Like when we were growing up, the TV pretty much stayed on SportsCenter.
Yeah, it did.
It pretty much stayed on ESPN. We were watching all Around the Horn, PTI. We were watching all those shows.
I would watch SportsCenter from like 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning, whatever come on. I will watch the replays.
Yes,
all up to like noon or whatever it cut off.
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
It was all the rage, but everyone's the cord's been cut. No one's watching cable. Everybody's on streaming and the internet. Everybody's watching everything in clips. No one watches full length programming anymore. Everybody just watches clips on YouTube or TikTok. Everybody just watches bite-sized pieces of everything. Everybody's consuming bite-sized pieces of everything. So if that's what's happening, if that's what consumer behavior has become, there's no way that as a media outlet, you can sustain profits and be viable in the future when you're paying all of these on-air media talents millions of dollars a year. It's an unsustainable formula. You can't keep up with that. So, you brought up all the reasons as to why you felt as though the writing was on the wall for Ryan Clark, and I agree with all of that. And I also agree with you that it's kind of messed up the way that he was laid off. But thinking about this thing, big picture, galaxy brain, it's an untenable ecosystem. Mm-hmm. You can no longer afford to pay all of these on-air talents millions of dollars a year in salary and remain viable. The money ain't coming in anymore. It's not. The money, the revenue. Do you know how ESPN makes its money? Live the games, the contracts for the game. The only reason why ESPN is still in existence now is because it licenses the right to show Monday Night Football with NFL, and it has NBA games, hockey games, baseball games.
College football.
Yeah, college football, yeah. So that's when people tune in to ESPN. People used to tune in to ESPN for not just the games, but also the other stuff. College Game Day, PTI, Around the Horn, First Take when it was good. All of those shows. Baseball Tonight. We used to watch Baseball Tonight.
I used to watch Baseball Tonight, and I wasn't even watching baseball. I would just watch Baseball Tonight.
Bro, we would be in the living room watching Baseball Tonight. None of us in the apartment watch baseball. but we used to be in there watching Baseball Tonight because we used to love watching the web gems.
Yeah.
So in addition to the games, people used to tune in to ESPN for all of the other stuff. No one cares about all of the other stuff. No one cares. No one's watching this stuff. I don't even know how they're still around other than for the games. Bro, this ain't just about ESPN. No one's making money.
No, yeah, for sure.
No one's making money. I told you before on a different video, I still stay plugged in somewhat to like video game stuff because I used to be a gamer. Bro, it seems like every other week I'm reading about this studio getting shut down. Microsoft laid off these people. Sony laid off these people. Yep. It's Nintendo's land. Like, bro, it's happening all over the place. If you're not a part of a union where you can be protected, shielded from this stuff, you're at risk. Because if you're not leveraging new and emerging markets to make money, and you're still kind of on some sort of a traditional market trajectory, you're at risk of becoming obsolete. For all intents and purposes, ESPN is traditional media. So it, just like newspapers, is becoming obsolete by the day. So it shocks me not one bit that Ryan Clark and others, I'm surprised they're not laying everybody off at this point.
Yeah,
because it's untenable. Like the world economy right now, bro, is teetering. This stuff is untenable. It's untenable. If you're not capitalizing off of the attention marketplace, the sexual marketplace, or if you're not able to kind of pierce the veil as like one of these people, these streamers or something like this, where you're able to kind of capitalize off the current zeitgeist, you're withering away. You're withering away. No one's making money. So I get it. I think it sucks the way it happened to him, but he is a casualty, a byproduct, a microcosm of what's going on in the rest of the world, where all of these traditional markets are becoming more and more obsolete by the day, completely unprofitable.
Yep.
Movies are the same. We just got finished talking about music, movies, all of it is going to shit. So you know what I'm saying? It's I don't know what people are going to be doing 10 years from now. I legitimately don't know. And like you brought up the point, and it's accurate. Like, what are people going to be doing 5-10 years from now as all of this stuff becomes obsolete? Like, people need stuff to do.
They need stuff to do, bro.
Yeah. and it's crazy. Like, you always bring up the point, like, if you're not making money directly from these emerging markets, either because you invested in it somehow, or you were just on the cutting room floor at the beginning, you need to be learning how to service them. You need to be somebody who somebody can call whenever it goes rogue or breaks down or messes up, so that you can fix it. But if you're not in either of those capacities, and you're just somebody who's just out here earning a living in the traditional sense, you're becoming obsolete by the day.
Yep.
And that includes people like Ryan Clark, this Ravage guy, Cam Newton. This gravy train was bound to end at some point. You can't, it can't keep up. You can't keep doing it forever. So, it's crazy, man, but I'm not surprised, not at all.
Yeah, man. And I hear your point, bro. Every industry is feeling the current economy, bro. It's horrible. And you know, people are still keeping up with the cap. You know, they're still out here, you know, taking trips and doing this and doing that. And it's like, man, y'all better save y'all money, man.
And them people broke with bad credit.
Yeah, man.
I know some of them.
Yeah, and people still out here on the BS. You know, they still acting like it's normal. They still acting like there's gonna be a bounce back. Like, we have all reason to believe that this is just the beginning. And honestly, it might not get better than it is right this minute.
This is the new normal. You know, it's people are sitting around waiting for gas prices to stabilize.
Bro.
And what I keep trying to explain to people is there is no stabilization. This is the new normal. Like this is what it will be.
Yeah. I had to tell my old lady this. I said, look, today, the way things are right now, we're gonna look at 5 years from now and say, boy, we had it good back then. And right now you're like, yeah, right, this sucks. No, don't get me wrong, this does suck. I'm also telling you, whatever's going to be happening 5 years from now is going to be beyond comprehension. It's like, no, there's no way we're living like that. Oh, yes, the hell we are. And we're headed there. It's aggressive, man. You saw the wildfires in Canada. There's the toxic gas, the toxic smoke and stuff like that is covering all up north. Snowing in Wyoming. Snowing. You know what I'm saying? El Nino hurricanes.
Yeah.
World War III around the corner. We're already in the Cold War. We're in hell. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, this grocery store stuff is kicking my behind. I'm there every 3 days dropping $70, $80. This is kicking my behind. And so I know I ain't the only one. So these people out here that's with the cap, man, I still see people posting online like they going here, going there. And kudos to you, man. You saved up for it or whatever, man. But what I'm trying to get to you right now is I think people need to just read the tea leaves, man. All right, just read the room. It's getting rough out here. And for them firing celebrities, like you said, is just a sign of it. Even large corporations.
It's a microcosm of everything going on in every other industry. It really is. So
it's really bad out here.
It is. And as much as I want to sympathize with Ryan Clark, my first thought when you sent me that story, because when you sent me that, I said, oh, they're doing it again. And then I went and I looked and I saw, oh, yeah, they've been doing this now. They've been doing this now for the last 4 or 5 years. And and my first thought with it is, this is what's going on replete throughout the rest of the world. Like these markets cannot figure this stuff out. It's happening. Yeah, you use the word aggressive. The transitions are happening so swiftly that industries can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Nothing can keep up. The only things that are stable are things that I would call too big to fail, because no matter how much the world changes or no matter how aggressively the world changes, it's not going to go anywhere. Like infrastructure is always going to be a need. So like the engineering industry, for example, whether it's civil or structural, mechanical, chemical, that's not going to go anywhere because infrastructure is always going to be needed. Like even though the market tends to be violent with its fluctuations, real estate is also something where it's like, at the end of the day, people still need housing, people still need lodging. So in terms of the viability of being able to earn a living doing it without wondering whether that particular, discipline is just going to completely become eradicated. Like that's something where it's like, okay, within the next 5 to 10 years, I can bet my bottom dollar it'll still be around. The rest of this stuff, grocery, retail, technology, electronics, yeah, right, bro. the PS5 came out what 5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That thing you should be able to go to the store right now and buy a PS5 for like $250. Why the hell is it retailing right now for $800? This is insanity.
It's insane.
Bro, like in my lifetime, a video game console decreased in price over time. By the time we got into year 4, 5, 6, it was very affordable, maybe $200-$300, maybe $800. That's mad. This is madness. Grocery madness. Food, it's madness. Can't keep up with it. The price.
And you shop at Publix, bro. That ain't no joke, bro.
No, since I moved, I had to start going back to Walmart again. Since I moved,
hey, bro, I don't blame you, dog.
Because these bills don't stop. But that's the thing, bro. So it's a microcosm of all this stuff. Music quality trash, movie quality trash. Why do you think those writers were on strike a couple of years ago? They were striking for their livelihood. Because if you don't protect yourself, you'll be rendered obsolete at some point. So yeah, unless you're at the very, very top of the food chain, Ryan Clark, broadcasters, media personalities, y'all are obsolete too. This cannot keep. The gravy train has to stop at some point. You can't keep this up. No one's watching ESPN unless there's a game on. If no one's watching it, if the ratings ain't hitting, where is it in the spreadsheet that says we should pay these people millions of dollars a year? It doesn't make sense. Fiscally, it doesn't make sense.
Right. Well, hey, listen, at least for Ryan Clark's sake, he has a pivot and Cam Newton has his own platform as well. So, there's still going to be income coming in for these guys or whatever. Not that, it's whatever with that, but at least they got something to fall back on. But yeah, man, even at my job, bro, it's happening damn near quarterly at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's just another wave of people, man. It's like, damn, they letting them go too. They let. So, yeah, man, y'all just stay safe out there. And yeah, man, because it ain't sweet out here no more, man. It used to, bro, just think back to 2015. Y'all thought it was hard then. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was hard. Nah, man, it ain't this. It is not this, man. And they damn sure didn't have no flock cameras and all this other stuff they got going on right now, man. So everything has gone tenfold. So y'all just stay safe out there, man. Make sure you're planning for the future. Just in case, man, when these people try to pull rugs from up under you, man, at least you have the pivot. At least you have 4th and 1, whatever Cam Newton thing is. So, you know what I'm saying? Y'all keep your head on the swivel out here because it's not going to get any easier. Whatever's going on, these people seem to be hell bent on breaking us. So y'all just, stay strong out there. Y'all ain't the only ones going through it, man. And don't fake the funk, man. Just keep it real with yourself and try to stay safe for the next 5 to 10 years, man. Because, I don't think it's going to get any easier anytime soon, man. So
it's not. Shouts out to the What You Been Watching podcast. Shouts out to my brother Marcus Dudley. He is the arbiter. He is the arbiter of the What You Been Watching podcast. Dudley, if you still there, I did watch the Doomsday trailer, and my thoughts on it. My thoughts on the Doomsday trailer is I don't believe any of it. I don't know how much of it is a fake out because they always do that with these trailers for these Marvel movies. I don't know what scene is actually gonna be in the movie. I don't know whether those characters are actually there or who they edited out, digitally. So my thoughts on it are I don't know what I'm looking at because they got me a couple of times and they won't get me again. So I just don't believe I don't believe any of that trailer. I don't believe any of it.
Yeah, I didn't see the trailer, but I saw the skits, man. I saw people weren't pleased. So I have to take a look at that, man, see what's going on with that.
Well, what Marvel likes to do, man, they like to put these trailers out and they'll digitally remove characters from certain parts of the trailer, or they'll put certain characters in, have you thinking that this is going to be like this, and then you see the movie and they got you because they want to keep everything secret. So
that's lame as hell, bro.
Yeah, that's they mastered the art of that. So that's my thoughts on that. That's my thoughts on that trailer. Is I think most of it was just a giant fake out.
That's dumb.
Hey, shouts out to Ryan Clark, brother. Good luck, man.
Yeah, man. And Cam Newton for that matter. Oh, brother.
So we move on to Lizzo, who's playing therapist for PlaqueBoyMax. So PlaqueBoyMax had an awkward encounter with another streamer during Streamer University. This streamer's name that PlaqueBoyMax had an awkward encounter with is called OJ Suave. OJ Suave or OJ Suave. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce his name. But the dude had an awkward encounter with PlaqueBoyMax where he was basically calling PlaqueBoyMax out for recent suspect behavior on his streams and kind of trying to, steer him in the right direction, saying his parents wouldn't be proud of him and, he needs to not, just kind of capitulate to so much of this sus behavior. PlaqueBoyMax looks like he was taken aback by it, caught him off guard. But Lizzo is coming to his defense, and she's giving him words of encouragement, basically telling PlaqueBoyMax to ignore all the outside noise because it's none of his business, and all he has to do is engage in self-love, and he can ignore everything else. So this says Lizzo gives PlaqueBoyMax a lesson in self-love after bizarre OJ Suave confrontation. Lizzo gave PlaqueBoyMax a timely lesson on the importance of self-love after he was made the subject of a bizarre and intense diatribe from OJ Suave at Kai-Cenat Streamer University this weekend. He just kind of told me some stuff that just bothered me. Called me demonic and stuff, said my parents are not proud of me. Indeed, the moment in question saw Max standing in silence as OJ Suave launched into a lengthy screed, apparently inspired by the streamer's recently revealed diva tattoo. But as Lizzo pointed out, such criticism is of little actual consequence. The four-time Grammy winner challenged Max to partake in what she billed as a 60-second self-love class in which he was tasked with naming 5 things he loves about himself. This led to Max highlighting his passion, creativity, and more before Lizzo doubled down on the pep talk. All right, so here is this exchange between Lizzo and PlaqueBoyMax. Lizzo, by the way, was some kind of media correspondent during University. Just for a little context for people out there.
So like you gave me that motivation.
Wait, so what happened last night?
He just spoke like he just said something like shit that just bothered me. Kind of called me demonic and shit.
Ooh,
Yeah. Some of my parents not proud of me.
What? But does he know your parents? Exactly. Is he God?
No.
Exactly. Only God can tell you that.
Yeah.
And only your parents can tell you if they're proud of you or not. Okay?
Amen.
So this is what I want you to do right now because you haven't been in my class.
Yeah, I know.
So I want
to
you to take a 60-second self-love class. I want you to say 5 things about yourself that you love, not physical.
Discipline.
Yep.
Actually, I'm not disciplined.
Okay.
So
but you take accountability for that.
Yeah.
You take accountability.
Okay, accountability. Passionate. I'm passionate.
Yes, you are.
I'm caring.
Yes.
I'm creative.
Yep.
And I'm unique.
And you're unique. You know what? I want you to remember those things that you just said about yourself. Don't remember what somebody who don't even know you said about you last night. Because who are they? His opinion of you is none of your what business. Your business is your business. And you are a multimillionaire. Period. Am I right? Say you that nigga. My parents are proud of me.
Yeah.
High. Don't let nobody talk down to you, okay?
Amen.
Oh, baby.
Thank you, Lizzo.
Don't let nobody bully you.
W Lizzo.
W.
Oh my God. I was good up until she threw that word out there.
Nah, man, come on, man. If you don't listen, if you don't love, okay, if you don't love yourself, you can't call yourself the N word. You know what I'm saying? That shows how much you do love yourself.
Oh man. Lizzo went on to provide Max with a few positive affirmations. My parents are proud of me, and I'm a child of God. Several streamers were quick to jump to Max's defense after the moment that inspired all of this. Giovanni Ramos, for example, questioned the reasoning behind why Jay Suave would inundate Max with 5 minutes straight of him saying weird stuff. Now, do we want to play this one?
Nah, I don't need.
Okay, all right. So there you go. There's Lizzo and giving PlaqueBoyMax their words of encouragement, telling him to engage in 60 seconds of self-love and all of that other stuff. So what do you make of this whole situation between PlaqueBoy and Suave, and then Lizzo coming in to the rescue and all of that?
Yeah, man, we covered Brittany Renner and her manic behavior, and this looks like an episode that PlaqueBoy is going through. With the dermal tattoos, the bust down, lace front wigs, the zesty dances. Some may say that he's just being comfortable in his own skin. Me personally, I feel as though that this young man is suffering with some kind of mental issues. I personally would say that, because before he started doing all of this zesty stuff, he openly came out and said that he had a vasectomy because he was encouraging other young people to go get one. And then all this other behavior started shortly after that. Now, granted, with all of this stuff popping up, people have also surfaced old clips where he kind of always had this zesty side about him, which I'm not surprised by. But he's just letting it all hang out, no pun intended. And so he's really gone on a bender lately with this behavior. And to be honest with you, I don't think the OJ guy said anything wrong. All right, I felt like he was just trying to straighten him out. No pun intended there. But just trying to, be a voice of, because he might not have nobody in his corner that's like, hey, bro, you're doing too much for the clicks. You're doing too much for the money. You might end up really losing yourself doing all of this. And I think that was pretty much OJ's message, that doing all of this stuff for the clicks and the views and all of these things, it may not be good for your mental health. Now, I'm not saying that, because he lives on the spectrum is that he's struggling with mental. No, the mental health struggle is that you were person A 4 months ago, and then you started transitioning into this other person that you weren't before. So I don't care what it is, honestly. This 180 of a personality to me screams that you are out of balance as a person. And so whatever he's got going on, whether the money started coming in or management told him to start doing this, start doing that, I don't know what it could be, but there's definitely been a change in behavior. I mean, whenever we would cover PlaqueBoy or whatever, it'd be something that's something's going on and he's talking about it. And for the most part, we'll just sit here and go, yeah, man, I understand where he's coming from, or blase, please, blase, blase. But in this context, when he's, tattooing himself a diva and, telling young people to get vasectomy, people to, being yourself is getting a bust down lace front, I have a problem with that. And last thing I'll say before I let you go is when we covered the first time that he was on the show, when we covered him, they were talking about what's easier, streaming or 9 to 5 or whatever. And PlaqueBoy's argument was that, hey, y'all don't know what we go through as streamers, having to constantly entertain, having to wake up and be in that mode and try to get in that bag and deal with all of this energy coming in at you. And at that time, I haven't really heard that before. But in that time when we was having that conversation, I said, hey, let's see what happens with this. This is a new phenomenon. And these people are pretty much like child stars kind of or whatever. Not really child stars, but we're watching them do something that's new in sociology, streaming and all this other stuff, dealing with all this energy, dealing with all this sponsorships. What does this turn people into eventually? And just in the past 6 months, PlaqueBoy it appears to be a different person, at least aesthetically. So yeah, man, I'm with the internet with I do think that PlaqueBoy has been acting out of, it may be within his character, but it's definitely out of the norm that people have known from him, I would say, I guess. And of course, Lizzo is going to sit there and double down, triple down, and support him in his manic behavior. But I think that, yeah, man, I think something's a little off. Don't know what it is, but maybe that would help steer him in the right direction. Most likely not, but who knows? But I personally don't think the OJ guy was out of pocket. He's a streamer, talking to a streamer. They do everything live. Hell, these dudes will go on a toilet live if they let them. So I don't mind them having that conversation on live. So somebody needed to hear it that was a PlaqueBoy fan. And yeah, I stand with OJ on that. But man, what are your thoughts on PlaqueBoyMax getting called out for his zesty behavior lately? And then of course Lizzo coming to comfort PlaqueBoy and let him know that he is indeed that N-word. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I mean the issue is with defining structure. Mm-hmm. So when you are a streamer, especially, and you brought up him talking about how streaming is harder than working a 9 to 5. In certain respects, that may be true, because when you work a 9 to 5, you have to earn a living within a particular structure. So due to that structure, you develop habits and routines. And as you develop those habits and routines, it kind of helps for you to stay grounded behaviorally with respect to whatever it takes in order to be successful within those habits and routines. So if Monday through Friday, you have to wake up to be to work at 8:30 in the morning, generally you're not going to pick up habits and behaviors that put your ability to do that successfully at risk. Mm-hmm. So as a result, you're going to stay within that structure and you're not going to act out of pocket, because if you do so, you're going to risk compromising your ability to be able to successfully make it to that job every day at 8:30. And if you can't make it to that job every day at 8:30, you risk having a job. And if you risk having a job, you're risking your livelihood. Of course, no one wants to risk their livelihood. So when you are working a job, so to speak, certain built-in advantages inherent in that is that it pigeonholes you into this, into learning how to best thrive within a structure that is being sort of impressed upon you out of necessity because you need to work to earn a living. Versus when you're a streamer, you don't have any structure. You can literally do whatever you want. You're not having to wake up at certain times. You don't have to go to bed at certain times. I'm pretty sure these guys, or women, depending on who we're talking about, have to go to certain meetings here or there, certain business lunches or stuff like that. But a lot of that stuff is loosely defined. You can kind of create, schedules. You can set whenever the time for the lunch is. The point is you're not having to wake up every day like, I got to be here at 8:30. I got to be here at 8 o'clock. I got to be here at 7 o'clock every day. So when that is your reality, there is a lot of room for open interpretation. There's a lot of room for you to basically freestyle life. And when you have the opportunity to freestyle life, some would say that that's a good thing, but what it opens the door up for is for you to expose yourself to certain aspects of a lack of structure that can just have you all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the observation of this new phenomenon over time, where we're not going to know what the long-term ramifications of this walk of life are until these individuals have become older, mature adults, and there's a new generation of crop coming in, so you can see how that transition has progressed over time. We're not really going to know how that lack of structure is. We're not going to really know until then whether that lack of structure is truly detrimental or not, whether that levity, that ability to basically freestyle your way through life is a good or bad thing. Now, of course, other streamers and Lizzo are going to say that that's a good thing, because freestyling your way through life it sort of gives you the opportunity to kind of be yourself, find yourself, make your own rules, and define what life means for you. But there's a tremendous amount of responsibility that comes along with that freedom. You can't just invent life as you see fit and not suffer any sort of repercussions. Like with great power comes great responsibility. And I would argue that being able to live a life devoid of structure is a tremendous amount of power. So you have to accept the responsibility that comes along with that power. And I don't think we are at the point where people realize that, because this thing is in its infancy stages. But I will tell you that I believe that that lack of structure, which is inherently a greater deal of amount of power, comes with it a lot of consequences. And some of those consequences are a lack of being grounded in your humanity and knowing who you are. And so you can argue that that's a good thing if you want. I would disagree. I don't think that not being grounded in your humanity is a good thing. And when you live a life with structure, it forces you to have to be grounded in some form of humanity in order to be successful, versus individuals in his position who can just freestyle their way through life without it being mandated that they have to be grounded in some form of structure in order to be successful. But with that is going to come a lot of wayward, strange behavior. How that's going to play out in the long run remains to be seen. But I believe, in my opinion, not having that structure isn't always a good thing. So we can say whatever we want about having to work a 9-to-5 and having to work a real job versus being a streamer, and how it's so much better when you don't have to work a 9-to-5. But at the end of the day, his own words were his belief. It's harder to be a streamer than it is to work a 9-to-5. And I think some of his perception therein comes from the fact that when you don't work a 9-to-5, so to speak, you're living a life devoid of a certain aspect of structure that most other people in the world have to adhere to in order to be successful. You get to basically just make up your own rules, and that's not always a good thing. So like this old Jay Suave guy, or whatever his name is, I don't know him. I'm not very familiar with his work, but the observations that I believe he was making are the observations that one makes of a person who gets to live a life completely devoid of any sort of structure. And he was just pointing that out.
Yeah.
Agree to disagree with whatever it is that he was saying, but human beings need structure in some form or fashion. You can't just be out here doing whatever you want at all times. But this is a new thing that we're looking at. So, it's going to take a little bit of time before we know completely what the ramifications of being able to live in existence devoid of structure actually looks like. But I think that these are the fruits of those labor, and we are starting to see the seeds of that, what that looks like when that tree grows. We're starting to see the beginning stages of what that looks like. And only time will tell how truly detrimental it is.
Yeah, man. And at the end of the day, and I agree with that. And I also think at the end of the day, these guys are industry guys. You brought up earlier when we were talking about the Billboard stuff that the new rappers per se are the streamers. And honestly, because of that, the new investment is into streamers from corporations, because they see that level of influence as well. This is better than a hit record in a lot of ways. If the moment was viral enough, it gets clipped and gets played into perpetuity because it's a meme. The kids sit there and watch it for hours on end. It's not just the streamer talking, it's the culture of the chat that's also reinforcing certain types of behaviors, ways of thinking, and blah, blah, blah. So I've heard on many occasions that a lot of these people that we know the name of that are streamers are backed. No different than, a rapper that we heard in the early 2000s, because we hear them on the radio. They were backed by somebody. This person didn't make it on the radio because they were talented. They made it on the radio because they were backed by somebody. And I think a lot of these guys, the Castanets, the PlaqueBoyMaxes, and this whole streamer university psyop is a part of the new wave of influence on young people. And what better way to influence a young group of people, impressionable young people, with one of their favorite streamers. And these guys live like rock stars. So this ties into the aspect that you're saying, where there's really no structure, there's really no anything. I mean, they pretty much just live in Neverland Ranch all day. They play video games, they hang out, you know what I'm saying? They can buy women if they want. Yeah. They're doing everything. And this streamer university thing, they get all kinds of clout, they get all kinds of everything. So these guys are just constantly rolling. And so what does that do to a human brain? What does that look like when, the people in the office are saying, hey, why don't you guys do a live stream in prison? And y'all all sleep together, because they've done that. They've had live streams from prison, and they all sharing bunks and stuff, having all male sleepovers. This is what they're doing. So, brought to you by whoever. And so, yeah, man. So PlaqueBoy, he's no different than your run-of-the-mill rapper in the early 2000s that was out here zesting it up. He just has a streaming platform. So yeah, man, I just think that the new wave of influence, it hasn't gotten by corporate interests. That these young people, these streamers, are the new wave, and they're invested in them. And this is what a byproduct of that investment looks like. It looks like PlaqueBoyMax in this image. It looks like Lizzo, and it looks like those two collaborating together. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, to me, it's unfortunate. These guys look like they had organic rises. They look like they were organically, supported. But to me, now I really, after the latest behaviors, all of this streamer university stuff, all of this money that's going into this, it's turned into a reality TV show. This is sponsored by something, backed by something, and all of these guys are a part of it. So yeah, man, I think it's the new wave of manipulation for young people. So yeah, man, I'm not surprised by this. And yeah, I stand by what OJ said, that I think this is a little strange. So I'm not supporting this at all.
But when you get to make up what strange is, that what does OJ's comment mean at that point? That's the thing. Like, yeah, that's the essence of the current culture, is deconstruction of all traditional norms, so that we can
I can't think that's strange.
Yeah, so that we can
thinking that's strange.
Correct. Yeah. So we're just making this stuff up, because what is strange and what is not strange, Mm-hmm. And that's speaking for me. Like, I used to be quick to call people weird and whatnot. At a certain point, I did back up off that, because the stuff that I used to call out as weird wasn't really weird. That was just me being immature and not giving people enough grace to truly be an individual within reason. So I would say I was calling very benign stuff weird, like you know, like what would be an example? Like wearing sneakers with like no show socks, stupid stuff like that. I would say
that is weird, but yeah.
I was calling dumb stuff like that weird, right? You get my point. There's not really anything weird about that. So like the point that I'm trying to make is I used to do that kind of thing where I would say, this is weird, this is not, this is strange, and this is not. And I came up off that when I matured to a point where I realized within reason, I don't like it's not that serious. Like, yeah, you can wear sneakers with no show socks, no big deal. But I think that has evolved to this new thing now where it's like there is no such thing as within reason. It's just all what we want it to be. And we can just define it. We can just define it however we feel like it. So if I wanted to go and get whisker implants in my face because I feel like I can just be a cat, you can't call that weird because that's just me being me. I can go, why can't I go to, I don't even know if that's something that you can do. I'm pretty sure it is.
I think I've seen that before.
Yeah, like why can't I go to some sort of plastic surgeon and get actual whiskers surgically put onto my face so that I can live in my truth as a cat?
As a feline.
And is that weird? No, because there's no such thing. There's no such thing as weird, strange, unusual. It's just what we want it to be. And to a certain extent, I don't mind that, but you still need structure in society. And just removing structure at all costs, all for the sake of everybody just being able to do whatever they want, to me, isn't a good thing.
Yeah, I agree, man. So, I still call stuff weird. People can do whatever they want, and I can do whatever I want. And I choose to identify as somebody that calls things weird. so hold that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I reserve the right to think that young people don't need to be seeing that. These people stream to children. The crazy part about this is that, they like to play this off like, oh yeah, like there's adults watching this. No, man, it's middle school, high school kids. They be bringing girls with BBLs and twerking and all kinds of weirds. You know what I'm saying? They get weird on there. And they it's basically like if this was on Nickelodeon, but they get the pass because it's on Twitch and Kick. It's like, nah, man, ain't nothing but 14, 15-year-olds watching this. So no, man, I'll stand on it. You know what I'm saying? I do think that these dudes need to well, they're gonna do what they do. But yeah, man, I do think they need to be, held to the fire, figuratively speaking, that, this ain't gonna get a pass. And one last thing I'll say is that I did see enough from young people in the comment section of PlaqueBoy's videos to go, hey, well, at least everybody ain't going for this. They'll call them out, and then those will get thousands or tens of thousands of likes and stuff like that. But on the flip side, there's the people out there saying, why does it matter? Why do you guys care?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What is it? Why is it bothering you? Yeah. It's like, bro, please.
That's not the point. Yeah.
It's definitely not the point. Yeah. But yeah, man, I digress, man. But hey, shout out to OJ Suave. I don't know any of his contents. Most likely a month from now, he might be on a conscious approach for doing something sus. You never know nowadays. But as it stands right now, man, I appreciate you calling him out, because maybe PlaqueBoy will never receive that message. Don't care. It was for the other people out there that did see it. And that's the part I stand behind. So shout out to him.
Yeah, it's anybody who might be influenced by his content. That's really who he's checking. He's not really checking PlaqueBoy. I would say the value in what he did was checking anybody who might also want to do what PlaqueBoy does.
Yeah, man. You never know, bro.
Yeah. We lastly get into Halle Berry, who has been doing a lot of talk lately about her journey from being in, perimenopausal.
What's going on, bro?
She's representing for the older women out there who want to, make sure that they, maintaining their sexy. They want to, like, Halle Berry has become a spokesperson for like older women getting their sexy back. I've noticed that she's been doing a lot of public speaking, talking about, still making sure that part of your life is fulfilled even as you get older. Nothing necessarily new, but she's just become somebody who just speaks on it a lot. And so this is another instance of that where Halle Berry is touching on this again. So the Halle Berry, by the way, I believe new to the channel. I can only recall one other time where we discussed Halle Berry on this channel. So welcome back once again, Ms. Berry. Appreciate you being here. So this says Halle Berry 59 says her sex life is back batting 100. I am juicy like a peach. Aging like a fine wine, Halle Berry has been more open about her sex life. The Academy Award winner was a guest on the July 15th episode of podcast Making Space with Hoda Cole, where she discussed women's health and reclaiming her sexuality through menopause. Berry, who's engaged to soul musician Van Hunt, turned 60 on August 14th. Around the 35-minute mark of the video below, Berry plugged her partnership with Joy Lutz while getting real about improvements in her sex life during menopause. Down that path of life, perimenopause, everything gets dry, like I said, and so intimacy and sex can become painful. And so many divorces happen around this time of life because women become unable and unwilling to have sex because it's so painful. Berry added that her biggest problem during perimenopause was concerns that she could not have sex anymore, which has since drastically changed. I am juicy like a peach, she said. My sex life is back batting 100. Berry, who dated Hunt for roughly 5 years before confirming their engagement in February, shared in 2024 that she had fallen madly in love with the Grammy winner before they were intimate. That has never happened to me ever. Talk about one of those life-changing, beautiful experiences. It was magical, just magical. The actress has been married 3 times and shares a daughter, Nala, 18, with her former partner, model Gabriel Aubrey, and a son, Makio Robert, 12, with actor Olivier Martinez. Okay, so that's the end of that. So yeah, bro, what do you make of Halle Berry unmuting on how she is at 59 going on 60, juicy like a peach once again?
I'm not buying it. I think she's lying. And and Freudian slip, whether it's maybe due to her lack of baseball knowledge or what, man, but batting 100 is not good at all, man. So you know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, that box is dry as hell, man. So I can't go for this. I'm not saying that you can't be old and you know what I'm saying, do your thing. So I'm not hating on that. My thing is that, juicy like a peach. I don't think the streets need to know that, man. I think that she has had a history of being like outside. So I'm glad to see that she's found somebody to settle down with, old age and all that other stuff. And, getting it in is important, I guess. But I just think that people are just overly freaked out. And when I say I don't need to know that, I mean, I guess older women needed to hear that there's a way to get your juices flowing again. But I want my elderly women to not talk about juicy peaches, bruh. And there's something about that rubs me the wrong way. I get it that there's probably a degree of awareness spreading, but she didn't share what she was doing to get her juices back. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did you do? Was it an exercise? Was it a particular food? You were just telling me about your Velcro box and how it was painful, and now you're just juicy as ever. I'm not buying that. And not only am I not buying it, I just want more class from my older women, man. I don't know what it is about that, but for some reason it just rubbed me the wrong way. Now, granted, I've known older women, that would openly not talk, violently sexual or nothing like that. They would just talk about things. They'll make jokes here and there and whatever. And, that's all good and stuff like that. But at the same time, man, I don't want to hear that. It's just something about that I feel like life needs to be. I think life is more than that, especially at that age. I just want more. I don't know, man. More decorum, more class, more elegance, and I want to hear about what makes y'all marriage and y'all bond strong. Not friction when you're having, what I'm saying, y'all intimacy moments, So I don't know, man. For me, that I just didn't want to hear that, even if it is coming from Halle Berry. Nah, man. I think that I just wanted more of a. And here's my last thing. What's that Huxtable lady? What's her name? Felicia Rashad.
Mm-hmm.
She would never, and that's my point. She would never talk about her having a dry box and how sex was too much friction. It was causing her pain. And now she's batting 100 with a juicy peach. She would never say that. And honestly, she's so classy that it was never dry. Felicia Rashad, that is. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So there's nothing to come back from. But what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts, man, on Halle Berry? You know what I'm saying? Batting 1 out of 10 now. You know what I'm saying? Now that her box is restored. What are your thoughts, bro?
So I hear all of that. So I'm 40,
mm-hmm.
and I am unmarried and I don't have children.
Mm-hmm.
And I still believe that marriage and children are in my future.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously at 40 years old, I'm getting a very late start.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not very late, but a late start. Later than average.
Mm-hmm.
But I still believe that is something that's in my future. So I actively commit to certain things that I believe are going to physically de-age me and keep my body young, mm-hmm. so that I can be prepared for entering into that stage in my life in my 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So things like my exercising and my working out, it's always been in me to do those things anyway. Like, I come from an athletic background. I played sports growing up. I've been working out since I was in high school. So I've always been into that stuff. But as I've gotten older, the motivation to do it, not just for the health benefits, but to keep my body young physically, to de-age myself so that I don't have to adhere to the aging process, because I want to be a young, like, in terms of age, I'm going to be an old dad. Mm-hmm. I've accepted that. But physically, I'm not going to be an old dad, because physically, I'm still going to be strong. I'm still going to be running around, jumping around, moving around. I'm still going to be alive. I'm still going to be lively, because I'm keeping my body young. I stay away from alcohol. I drink casually, socially, but I'm not a heavy drinker. I don't do any drugs, never have. I eat pretty well, and I work out and I exercise a lot. A big part of what motivates me to do that is keeping my body physically young, so that I can still run around and do all of the stuff that I want to do, despite the fact that I am now a 40-year-old. Now, sex for me would be a part of that. I don't want to get married. let's say I get married at 45. I don't want to get married at 45 and only give my wife a few good years before, I start to hit that ticking time clock where all of a sudden I'm not as virile as I was when I was younger. I want to be somebody who, even though I got married at 45, I can still lay it down up until I'm 70, 80 years old. That's what I want to be able to do. So the whole point in me saying this is I see where she's coming from, if I'm being totally honest, because, and I'm speaking from personal experience here, due to my individual life's journey, I can appreciate people who prioritize being able to physically remain in that spirit for as long as possible. I agree with you that it's not the end all to be all, and there's certainly more to life, but there's all kinds of stuff in this world that people are exposing themselves to that are accelerating the aging process. A lot of people are out here eating bad food. A lot of people are out here just on all kinds of substances. They drinking too much, watching too much adult stuff online. There's all kinds of things that people are exposing themselves to readily, men and women, that are accelerating the aging process. And I do want to be a guy who's 60, 70 years old, who's still ready and willing to get it in at all times. I feel that.
No enhancement.
Yeah. No enhancements. Yeah. And I pride myself, like with my working out, I've never done protein powder. I've never done any kind of enhancement, nothing artificial. I've just all been. Yeah, well, I've done creatine monohydrate for muscle recovery. Okay. I have done that, but plant-based protein. I don't even take pre-workout. I don't even take energy drinks. I'm just straight. All I do is drink water. So I'm just somebody who's big on the de-aging process. I do. And likewise, look, she's talking about being 59 and being juicy as a peach. Let's say, now I don't think that this would happen because for various reasons that I'm not going to get into at this time, because I don't want to prolong the length of this video. I don't see myself being with anyone who's around my age range. I don't know that I see that. So I'm probably going to be an age gap dater at some point, unless something changes, which I'm opening up the possibility of that. But do I see that happening at this point? No, I don't. And so, there's probably going to be a gap there. And so my woman's probably going to be younger than me, probably significantly younger. But even if I was not in that space, she's 59 and she's talking about being juicy as a peach. Yeah, I want my woman to be 59 and juicy as a peach. I do.
Yeah,
I do. So the thing about that is, whatever it takes to make that happen, I would hope that she's also engaging in various things to de-age herself, the way that I am actively engaging in things to de-age myself. So, I'm not going to take away from your view that there are more classy ways to go about conducting oneself, specifically when it comes to those kinds of comments. I hear that. But at the same time, given where I am in my life and the space that I'm in, I can appreciate where she's coming from. I want my woman to be 59 years old and to be obsessed with ensuring that she is juicy as a peach. If I'm being totally honest, when my woman is 59, 60 years old, I need her to still care just as much about that as she did when she was 24, 25.
Yeah, and listen, that's fair. And I don't have any statistics to back this up. And I don't even know if you can quantify this. But I have a theory that you've seen a older woman and she's just always pissed off. She's just mad. She's mad at life, mad at whatever. You know what I'm saying? Stop running, like, damn, lady, calm down. You know what I'm saying? people could say that's menopause or whatever, but me, I can't quantify this, but I always say you've got a bad box and you mad about that. It's just not good. Do you have one? Yeah, but it's not good. And your attitude is why it's so off. It can't possibly be good. So, we all know that crazy girls go crazy, you know what I'm saying, in the bedroom and stuff like that, whatever. But it's like, I think nasty women, so you don't have to be crazy. I think nasty women have nasty boxes. And so that old woman who don't have no man, who ain't got nobody around, she mad at life. And she just mad that she has a bad system down there. And she's had enough results in her life that's why she's single as hell. It's either her attitude or that, or both.
It's probably correlated. Yeah.
I think so, dog. Like, ain't nobody gonna do no study on this. So I'm just have to go off raw intuition. All right. And the reason why I brought up that, Halle, she had an outside lifestyle is because she did have an outside, she got this thing on her that she's a crazy person. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I say that, she was just probably doing too much or whatever. Like it got ruined down the line or whatever. And that's why I brought up the Felicia Rashad thing as well as a benchmark to say, you know what? I don't think that woman ever slowed down with that. You know what I'm saying? Because how she comes off is so warm that it would have to be warm. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get graphic here, folks. I'm just trying to get y'all to understand that a sweet woman never loses her peach. You see what I'm saying? It'd be hard. Just imagine this sweet woman, this here, she got it together. She's this, she's that. It's because that is what she's giving off the world what she is. She'll make a good plate of food. She'll make you feel at home. She's a this. There's no way that box is off. But if she's out here eating junk food, she out here for the streets. She got a nasty attitude. She this. Now you guarantee she gonna hit that wall, that nasty wall, and she dried up as hell because you dried up as hell. I don't have nothing to back this up. This is not peer review. But what I'm trying to get to you is it's an intuition that I have. Damn it. And I'm dying on this hill, damn it. Because every time I see a woman in public and she, being nasty towards me, I go, I don't care, lady. You know what I'm saying? Because your box off. And you mad at me for that. But if I met Felicia Rashad in public or any adjacent of that, you know what I'm saying? How you doing, baby? You need some extra napkins? Absolutely, ma'am. All right. So I think that's my point. All right. So I think Halle Berry was just outside, got worn out. So I'm glad she's rejuvenated. All right. And so while you're out there doing the search, bro, just make sure you get you a sweet woman, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm coming from with this, because I would find it hard to correlate such a nice woman, such great, bright, nice energy with all of that other weird stuff. I think all that other weird stuff come from weird stuff.
Yeah. So, it's funny. It's funny you say that. I was having a conversation with my cousin, and he's experienced, we'll put it that way. And he was saying something similar to that, where, because he's had his fair share of women who are for the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he had a theory. He used to always say, it doesn't make sense how all of these women can look as good as they do. They're so physically attractive. Like, how do you look as good as you do, but you're unclaimed? Like, how do you look that good, but you don't have a man? It doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And his theory was that it's because the box is bad. That was his theory. His theory is like, there's like a woman who looks that good would have been scooped up by some man at some point, and would have been, and he would have wiped her up. And you're still out here on the market, despite how good you look, flexing on Instagram and all of these social media outlets. You got all of these followers, and you posting all of these pics of how good you look, yet you're single. Why? Like, how can you look that good and you have nobody? And his whole thing was, it's got to be bad. It's got to be dry.
Yeah,
that was his thing. Is like that. That was his explanation. That it must be dry. It must be, because that. I mean, from a man's perspective, that really is the only thing that's going to keep a woman that good from not getting wiped up, unless she's just a pure sociopath who just eats men for breakfast and then leaves them all in her wake, right?
Guys will still stay around if it's good enough.
Yeah.
And the point is, and it doesn't need necessarily have to be dry. It just have to be bad. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a synonym at this
point.
Or
I mean,
dry and bad.
Well, it can be dry, but it doesn't have to be dry to be bad. It's a portal, bro. It's a phenomenon down there. It's a reflection of who you are. And so when you're dealing with that, and it's there, it's lubricated, but it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like it's too many people in here.
No, I do feel where you're coming from. I do think all bad boxes. What am I trying to say? I do think all dry boxes bad, but not all bad boxes dry.
There you go. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I have experienced it too. I have experienced that where it wasn't necessarily dry, but it was still bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That stuff. Yeah.
But his theory was always that it must be dry. Period. Like, there's no way for you to look that good and just have no takers. You just out here on the market like that. Good luck.
I need a peer review study on this. I don't know who's going to be brave enough to take on this life work project, but I think the streets need to know, because I've had this theory for long enough and I live by it, to be honest with you, man. And it's what helps me, deal with nasty energy from certain people, man. Your box is just off, and that's fine, man. But and it also helps you find that nice, sweet person, man. So yeah, man, y'all just do y'all thing out there. Y'all be safe, all right. But yeah, man, I would like to see the results of that. Can't quantify it, but I know I ain't the only person that thinks that.
It's just me. The phase that I've entered into my life as I get older, I can appreciate. I guess the bottom line for me is, as I get older, I appreciate women who get older and heavily prioritize making sure that they are good in that department. Like, I appreciate the motivation. I do. I appreciate them not wanting to be not that, even despite the fact that they might be 60, 70, hell, I don't care. I might not necessarily want to hear it per se, but if a woman is 70 and she's like, yeah, I still make sure I'm good down there, I respect that. I'm like, good on you. I'm like, I'm like, good on you. And I'm pretty sure that your husband appreciates that as well.
Yeah,
because man, I'm all about the de-aging process, and I want to be able to keep this thing going for as long as possible. Because you got to think about it, man. Even for me, let's say I have my first kid at 45. That means I'm going to send my first kid off to college, and I'm going to be 63. So I'm not going to get the chance to be an empty nester with my woman until I'm damn near 70 years old, depending on how many kids I have. I'm not, it is what it is. That's how my life has gone. I'm not making excuses. It is what it is. I can't cry over spilt milk. That's just the way it's gone for me. But I have to accept that, and I have to make the best of it, in the best way possible. So if I'm going to be an empty nester at, say, 70, I still want to make sure that things are lively even at 70. And I want her to be just as motivated to make sure that things are lively even at 70. So I can just appreciate the remarks.
Yeah, I feel that, man. So, hey, I guess shout out to Halle Berry, all right? Miss Peaches So shout out to you. All right. But let's get that batting average up to 1,000, not 100. Let's do that.
Man, that was a whole lot of transparency there in that video. I don't know how that's gonna play out long term, but we'll find out.
Man, let it ride out, man.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we out of here. Another good stream in the books. Appreciate everybody for checking us out. Check me out on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Check out the channel on Instagram at TikTok at ConApproach, CONAPPROACH, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you like to download podcasts. Man, as I always like to say, don't be a group thing or have a mind of your own. Think for yourself. And please, for the love of God, Miami Heat, do not sign LeBron. I'm begging you. I'm begging you, do not do this. I keep hearing that the Heat are in serious contention. I don't want to relive this again. I really don't. Please do not let this man go to Cleveland or wherever the hell else he's considering going. I don't want him down here again. Please, God. But that's it for me. Yeah, check us out. Check out some of the other content on the channel, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, man. The name is Dogon SS, by the way. Skr. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS, on YouTube, DraftKings, MySpace, Meta, Facebook, Twitter, X. Hey, man, there's a social media platform. Dogon_SS is also out there. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow, and all that good jazz. And as I say every week, guys, we greatly appreciate you all for watching, liking, consciously leaving comments, all right, sharing these videos, all right, because where else are you going to hear a conversation about guys talking about bad box at 59 years old? Come on, man. You can't share it. You can't keep this to yourself. You have to share it, man. All right. And as I always say, guys, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it prayer. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I still got more rings than LeBron James. And we'll see y'all in the next episode.
Yeah, we out of here. We'll see y'all later.
Peace.